Kansas City sports, 96 and Odyssey Sports Station. Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
And your home for Royals baseball.
Fastball hit high in the air, deep left field, way gone into the bleachers. A two-run homer for Bobby Witt Jr.
Watch The Drive by subscribing on our YouTube channel or listen on demand with the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This show is always going to stand on principles. Dippin' Dots are incredible. Red Lobster is the best restaurant that America has to offer, and baked beans are trash.
You're listening to Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan. Here's C-Dot.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. We have a very busy show planned today. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we are going to head to Baltimore. I didn't think that we were going to be going back to Baltimore after the Chiefs signed Alohi Gilman, and we also had the news of the Max Crosby trade. I thought we were done. I had no clue that there was going to be another development with Baltimore, so we are going to head back there coming up in about 15 minutes to get you the latest with all of the fallout regarding Max Crosby. We're going to get the Ravens' perspective. We're going to get the Raiders' perspective on what happened. We're also going to be joined by Joshua Briscoe today. We got Big 12 basketball to discuss as well. Kansas State had maybe the most fitting end to their season that you can imagine. And Arizona State, why did you even show up? Why did you get on the plane? You obviously did not take this tournament seriously. They got the absolute beats put on them today. They got beat by 49 points today out at the T-Mobile Center. We'll talk about Bam Adebayo and his 83 points. There are a lot of things that are currently happening in sports. We are days away from finding out the bracket in college basketball. Before we get to all of the news and notes for the day, I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. Number two, I need you to tell one friend to check out the show. And number three, and most importantly, I needed you to remember that our opens every day are brought to you by our friends over at The Other Place. Go stop by The Other Place for lunch. They got a daily lunch special every day for $8.99. They got 12 different lunch items at that price. So whether you want a burger, maybe you want a salad, maybe you want a pasta, maybe you want a couple slices of pizza and a salad, you can get all of that for under $10 Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. For your next lunchtime vibe, be sure to go check out and go see our friends over at The Other Place. A great place right now to catch the World Baseball Classic, also a little college basketball as we are at the conference tournament time, and we got the March Madness coming up next week. All right, let's dive into this. I am going to title the open of the show today, Two Things Can Be True at Once. Because a lot of times I feel like in sports media, we feel a reason to take a very strong and definitive side on something. Now, sometimes I genuinely feel it, but sometimes, you know what? I see the argument on both sides. So let's start with the two big stories. There are no bigger stories right now in sports than what is happening with the Baltimore Ravens and the fact that yesterday we saw Bam Adebayo score 83 points in an NBA game. Let's start football. Let's start with the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, the theme of this is going to be two things are true. This is what I believe happened with the Baltimore Ravens. I believe the Baltimore Ravens agreed to the trade with Max Crosby. I believe that the Baltimore Ravens had all of the knowledge in the world about his injury history and the concerns. We are talking about a player who got shut down at the end of the season and a player who had surgery on his knee immediately following the season. So I'm not surprised that in March, the physical is a little bit shaky. Now, you don't play football games in March. You don't start playing football games until August and September. I firmly believe that the Ravens had all of this information. I think as free agency started to play itself out, I think the Ravens started to look and see that Trey Hendrickson was going to come in a little bit cheaper than they had expected. And I think they sat down and they had a conversation. Would we rather have Max Crosby at this price and also factoring in that we have to trade 2 first-round picks to go acquire him, or would we rather sign Trey Hendrickson for basically the exact same contract and keep our 2 draft picks? And I think at that moment, the Ravens said, it's a no-brainer. Let's call the Raiders and tell them we're not going to do the deal anymore. And we are perfectly fine with being losers in the court of public opinion, but our responsibility is to our organization, and the best thing for us is to make this free agent signing and keep our 2 first-round picks. Now, again, I think 2 things can be true at one time. The Ravens are well within their rights to do it. We play in this very weird gray area when it comes to the legal tampering period and the actual start of the NFL season. So none of the things that we have been talking about for the last 3-4 days have been solidified. Kenneth Walker could have woke up and just said, I don't want to play for the Chiefs anymore. Travis Kelce could have woke up and said, you know what, even though I made an agreement to come back to Kansas City, I actually do want to take those interviews with other teams, and I'll let you guys know in a couple of weeks what I want to do. There is nothing official. It is all handshake agreements with the understanding that you are going to consummate this deal coming up on March 11th. So the Ravens are well within their rights to see how the board is playing out, make a big boy decision about face, not have to answer to anybody, and do what they think is in the best interest of their organization. Now, the other side of this, that's not the way the game should be played. They made a deal. They agreed on a deal. The Ravens started making moves off of that agreement. The Raiders started to make moves off of that agreement with the belief that we have these 2 first-round picks in hand, with the belief that we have this cap space. The 2 sides agreed to a deal, and everybody had all of the understanding. This isn't buying something off Amazon in which you can just, you know what? I actually don't want it, and go return it at Kohl's. I don't think that's how the game should be done. I think that's bad business. In theory, I think the NFL should do something about it. Now, I don't believe that the NFL is now going to enact a rule and force this trade to happen, or now go back and take away a 3rd-round pick because the Ravens hurt the Raiders' feelings. But what I do want to come for this is, can we stop this legal tampering nonsense? We all know that the official start of the league year is once they get to the NFL Combine. That's where these deals are getting done. I don't believe that the Chiefs and Kenneth Walker just started talking on Monday and agreed to the 8th largest running back contract in the history of the NFL. I think they've been communicating. Maybe not directly between Kenneth Walker and Andy Reid and Brett Veach, but the agent, the front office, they've been having these conversations. I know it. You know it. Everybody in the league knows it. Why do we have these gray area periods of where we all are discussing these deals as if they've been official when they're not official? Why are teams allowed to operate in this gray area and even have the ability to see how the board is going to play itself out, fail a player's physical so they can then renege on the deal and get their 2 first-round picks back, and then go operate in free agency like none of it happened? That's what I think happened. We've done this long enough to know if the team wants you to pass a physical, you'll pass a physical. If the team wants you to fail a physical, you'll fail it. He plays football for a living. He just had surgery less than 2 months ago. Yeah, maybe he's not recovering in the ways that you thought, but again, it's March. You don't start playing football until August and September. I think the Ravens hoodwinked us. I think they fooled us. I think we were led astray. I think we were run amok. So 2 things can be true here, and we'll get to Bam Adebayo here in a bit. The Ravens are well within their rights to do this. This is the way that it is set up. You can start the conversations on Monday, and you can agree to those deals on Wednesday. So we have this 2 to 3 day gray area where we all discuss these deals like they're official, but they're not official. And at any moment, you can just say, no, I'm okay. But in the same way that I don't think the Ravens should be able to back out of the deal, I don't think that Kenneth Walker should be allowed to agree in principle to a contract with the Kansas City Chiefs, take all of that information, and now go to the rest of the league and say, hey, now you know what Kansas City has. Are you willing to offer me more money? I'll take it. I don't think the game should be played that way. And I think the league should do something about what just happened over the last 24 hours between the Ravens and the Raiders. You shouldn't be allowed to do business in bad faith the way that I think the Baltimore Ravens did. All right, let's talk about the other story. A player scored 83 points yesterday in an NBA game. Two things can be true at the same time. Have we lost the ability to just say, hey, you know what? That was cool. I turned on the game at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I was monitoring it via social media, and my group chat started going crazy after the end of the first quarter. My core group of friends were all big NBA fans. He had the most points ever in the first quarter of an NBA game. He had 31 points at the end of the first quarter. So it's kind of like, Bam's about to have a big day. I was not thinking 81 points at that point, but Bam's having a really, really good day. Was monitoring again at halftime. I believe he was at 49 at halftime. Bam's having an amazing day. Then it hit the group chat that heading into the fourth quarter, Bam Adebayo had as many points as Kobe did when he scored 81. That's when I was tuned in. Wait, hold on. You're telling me that they're at the exact same place? Hey, maybe he can actually do this. Maybe they'll let him go for it. And they let him go for it. And in the last 7 minutes, the intrigue of seeing if he was actually going to be able to accomplish this thing was very entertaining and compelling drama. I did think eventually somebody was going to beat Kobe's record, but I thought it was going to be somebody who just got hot from three. I thought it was going to be like Steph or Luka or Devin Booker, a guy that just hit 15 threes in the game and was just unconscious from beyond the arc. I didn't think it was going to be a guy like Bam Adebayo, who's never really been a high-volume scorer guy, and yesterday essentially was a free throw merchant for the final quarter of that game. I ask if we just lost the ability to just say, oh, that was cool. That wasn't the greatest basketball game that I've ever seen. It wasn't the most memorable performance that I've ever seen, but just he scored 83 points in a professional basketball game. That's cool to me. Now, on the other side of two things can be true at the same time. You remember that time when Paul Pierce was going back and forth with Draymond Green? And remember when Draymond said, you ain't Kobe. They don't love you like that. Bam Adebayo's 83 points is going to come with an asterisk. Not in an NBA official sense, but in the court of public opinion. And ultimately, that matters. We are going to put an asterisk by it. I say this as somebody that watched all of the final 12 minutes of the game. They did everything in their power to ensure that he got this record. It turned into Will Smith from that episode where he was playing basketball with Carlton at Bel Air Prep. I mean, intentionally fouling, missing free throws on purpose, trying to create more opportunities. The Miami Heat realized when he got to 70 points with 9 minutes to go, we are going to make sure that he gets this record. And they did everything in their power to make sure that he got it. It was not organic in any way. It was not inside the flow of the game. It was, we are going to try to mine as many points as we can so we can help you get over this threshold, which, congratulations, you accomplished it. You, Bam Adebayo, have scored more points in an NBA game than any living basketball player. Just think about that sentence for a second. Think about how many great basketball players are still with us. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Dr. J, George Gervin, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Think about all of the basketball players that are still alive. None of them have scored more points in an NBA game than Bam Adebayo. But the public does not see it as you having the record. The public still sees Kobe as having the record. Now, I know they are. What about Wilt? I've been telling you guys for years the Wilt thing never happened. People's frustration into this confirms it more than ever before, is that Kobe's 81 was the real record to us, not Wilt's make-believe, fairy tale, Disney original movie 100 that they sold us when we were kids. Kobe's 81 was the record. It's still number one in our hearts. So yes, Bam Adebayo will be a crazy trivia question down the line. And someone eventually will score 85 points because that's how these things usually go. But two things are true. what he did yesterday was incredibly cool, compelling, and really intriguing to watch down the stretch. It also comes with an incredible asterisk because of how you force yourself to get this record. And I just don't think the public is going to see it that way. You don't have any connection with the public in the same way that Kobe did. And the public sees it as you manipulated the record for your own gain. I just don't think they're going to see it that way. So those are the two biggest stories in sports right now. It's the Max Crosby non-trade, and Bam Adebayo scored 83 points yesterday in a Miami Heat win over the Washington Wizards. Coming up on the other side, we're going to be joined by Tim Barbalay, 105.7 The Fan out in Baltimore. What in the hell happened? We'll find out together. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
On your home for Chiefs football, 96.5 The Fan.
Over time, your home's exterior takes a beating. You might notice faded colors or peeling paint. You need to call my friends at CertaPro Painters, whether you're thinking about the inside or outside of your home. Their free estimates are detailed and easy to understand, and you'll get a quote right away. Ask about their spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. And remember, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in KC. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Net big cash at Harrah's Kansas City. With 3 ways to win, you could score major prizes. 1. Each day through March 28th, earn to swipe your Caesars reward card at a Net Big Cash kiosk to instantly win up to $100,000 cash. 2. Collect letters to spell out winning words to score up to $1,000 free play. 3. Join us March 28th for drawings with a grand prize of $50,000 cash at Harrah's Kansas City. Visit our website for full details. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When the cold sets in across KC, AB May is the trusted name for keeping your home warm, safe, and secure. From furnace repairs to system replacements, we deliver reliable solutions in unmatched care and professionalism. Whether it's a sudden breakdown or routine maintenance, AB May is here to help. Trusted by generations of Kansas City homeowners, we're committed to doing things the right way every time. Call AB May at 913-732-9993 or visit us at abmay.com.
Call your serviceman from AB May.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Heartland Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Heartland Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible, plus the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself and Rob Bretton on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Coming to Kansas City, the NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship. 16 teams, 15 games, 6 days, and 1 national champion. The NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship at Municipal Auditorium, March 19th to the 24th. Get your tickets now at NAIAHoops.com. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's George Karlaftis from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to The Drive with CDOT on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
We'll catch up with Tim Barbalace here in a bit. I do want to clarify my stance. Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, you're only trashing Wilt because he's a Jayhawk. Someone else, only a Mizzou fan, would deny Wilt's 100-point game happened. Why am I not allowed to have a conspiracy theory the way everybody else does? Everybody else has a conspiracy theory. You guys know this about me. This isn't a new stance that I've told you. This is not the first time I've told you guys. I do not believe the Wilt Chamberlain game. I'll even give you reasons why I don't believe the Wilt Chamberlain game. Rob, one example. Inside Allen Fieldhouse, there's a very historic piece of paper that's there. What is it? It is the official rules of basketball, right? Maybe the most important piece of paper in the history of sports. I would also say the number 2 sheet of paper in sports is probably the Wilt holding the 100. Do you know where it is? Think about that. Think about how much money that would be worth if somebody had kept it. Wilt Chamberlain, we've all seen the iconic picture, Wilt Chamberlain holding the 100. Where is that sheet of paper? Never seen it before. We have never seen video from the game either. Now you're saying, oh, they didn't televise all the games. We didn't have audio of it until 2016. Think about that. The game happened in 1962. We did not have audio broadcast until the NBA found the fourth quarter of it. Not the whole game. They found the fourth quarter of it in 2016. No, I don't believe Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You can believe it. I don't believe it. I think it was made up. I think the NBA was struggling, and they created a mythical superhero, and I think they created Wilt Chamberlain. I think they created a mythical 100 points, come see Wilt. You got to also convince me, last point of why I don't believe it is, Rob, do you know what Wilt's career free throw percentage was? Wilt was a career 51% free throw shooter. On the day in which he scored 100 points, he was 28 from 32 from the free throw line. He was a career 51% from the line. Magically on this day, he turned into Steve Nash from the line. He turned into Steph Curry from the line. No, I don't believe it. No, I'm sorry. I do not believe it. That's my sports conspiracy, and I'm sticking to it. Kobe's 81 has always been the record to me. Bam is the new record at 83. The Wilt Chamberlain, you might recognize it. I don't recognize it. I don't think it happened. That's my sports conspiracy.
An interesting conspiracy theory. I mean, I believe the lottery's rigged for Patrick Ewing. So, I mean, everyone has a sports conspiracy theory. Mine's just, it stays in the NBA lane. I definitely think David Stern was rigging the lottery to get the Knicks to have Patrick Ewing, but I do think Wilt scored 100 in a night.
Okay, I'm just saying, someone says you can't have a conspiracy theory about something that is a fact. Again, you cannot show me video evidence of this. You can't. We got video of a man on the moon. We got video of it. We got video of the Titanic. They can show you exactly where the Titanic is. They know exactly. Somebody can take you right now down to the Titanic, and you can see it. You cannot show me video of the Wilt 100. You cannot show it to me at all. No, you cannot. Where's the sheet of paper? Why is there no video? Why do we not have the whole game on audio? I just got too many questions. I got way too many questions. No, too many. No, I'm not a believer. Call it what you want. Hey, I do not believe it. Not at all. Earlier today, I got a chance to be joined by Tim Barbalace of 105.7 The Fan out in Baltimore. We talked to him about the Max Crosby failed trade, and I told him how I feel. This is what I think happened. I think the Ravens agreed to a deal. I think the Ravens saw that Trey Hendrickson was available, and they could get him at the exact same price and keep their 2 first-round picks. So I think the Ravens failed Max Crosby's physical, and then called the Raiders and said, we are not doing the trade, and then hung up and then signed Trey Hendrickson to a deal. I asked Tim Barbalace if that's what he thinks happened.
I understand the optics of that, and you see various reports from various national reporters saying that they said the same thing, that it looks like Eric DeCosta pulled out of this. There's plenty of GMs and executives around the NFL that are pretty upset about this. I'm sure Max Crosby's agency is very upset about all of this, but I'm not necessarily buying that. I kept saying heading into this offseason, how is Eric DeCosta going to operate differently? How is he going to rectify, which was a horrible offseason in 2025? And the pressure was on him because you got a brand new coaching staff for the first time in 18 years. Lamar Jackson's only getting older. You saw plenty of free agents walk out the door first day of legal tampering period. This was his big swing. The Ravens had never traded a future first-round pick for a player in their franchise's history. And they knew that Trey Hendrickson was a free agent. I understand maybe his market was softer, but they identified Max Crosby as the better player because they were willing to give up those 2 first-round picks, in large part because Max Crosby is an elite run defender. He can get after the quarterback. He plays every single snap. Trey Hendrickson, he's a couple years older than Crosby. He's more of that pure pass rusher, which the Ravens absolutely have needed. But I just think they entered this offseason with cap flexibility for the first time in a while. They could have got Trey Hendrickson if they wanted to get Trey Hendrickson. I think they identified Crosby early on, and they took a big swing.
And I don't mind the swing. I think, at least for me, when it comes to failing the physical, you and I have been around the NFL enough to know if you want a player to pass the physical, he'll pass the physical. If you want enough for him to fail the physical, he will. Max Crosby, it was known about his leg injury. He had surgery a couple of months ago. It's March, so even if he's not physically where you think he's going to be, there's still 5 months between now and the beginning of the season. Their logic in my mind for failing the physical, to me, all seems to be all tied up on that. They saw a better offer. They saw a better deal. It doesn't appear that there's going to be a better penalty other than losing in the court of public opinion. So I think the Ravens just pulled the trigger and just did an about-face and reverse course.
Ultimately, the only person that knows if they got cold feet was Eric DeCosta. But now, Carrington, it's the ramifications of all of this that really intrigue me. And I could paint you a scenario where Eric DeCosta, he's able to pivot from Max Crosby. Trey Hendrickson comes back. He's only a year removed from leading the league in sacks. And the Ravens, they have plenty of cap space. They could spend some money to augment their roster. Eric could be executive of the year. I could paint you a scenario where he could be fired next year. If Max Crosby's traded somewhere and he performs at an all-pro level and Trey Hendrickson ends up being the medical reject because this guy only played in 7 games last year, underwent core muscle surgery, and the offensive line's in shambles. Lamar Jackson really doesn't have any targets. You have Mark Andrews, who's aging. Zay Flowers is a great wide receiver. But outside of him, it's very bare, and it's a rookie head coach with a rookie play caller. So I'm just fascinated more in the ramifications in how this plays out. How is Eric DeCosta going to rectify this, or can he even rectify this?
Right now, we're talking to Tim Barbalace of 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore, getting his reaction to the fallout regarding the failed trade between the Ravens and the Raiders for Max Crosby. Do you think the Ravens should be penalized at all for what happened? Because we are talking about a gray area here. They agreed to a deal. They are saying that the player failed the physical. The feeling outside the building is that they went back on a deal, but it is the legal tampering period. Do you think there should be any penalty towards the Ravens, or do you think there is an idea to potentially avoid this happening in the future, especially when we're talking about a marquee trade, draft pick compensation, and also big-time cap space for both sides?
Well, I certainly think this is something that the league needs to look into more. But if we're just talking about how the rules are right now, the Ravens did nothing wrong by the rules because it's always a trade is pending a physical. And look, the Ravens failed his physical. I'm sure he is going to pass a physical elsewhere. I could give you a list of so many players that failed a team's physical, ended up being a medical reject. I could give you a big list of a team that's failed the team's physical, went on to be a Hall of Famer. Remember Drew Brees? The Dolphins had a contract signed with him during free agency in 2006. They didn't like what they saw on the shoulder. He ended up being an all-time great in New Orleans. This is a point where Eric DeCosta and the Ravens medical staff have to look right, or this could really blow up in their face. And if that does happen, Crosby is not this medical reject that the Ravens think that he could be, then yes, I think the NFL needs to adjust their rules in terms of this, because this is unprecedented, Carrington. I've been trying to look for all morning if there's been a trade of this magnitude where a team has given up at least one first-round pick and then they backed out due to a failed physical. I can't find that.
What is it like to see a NFC team basically copy all of you guys' swagger and juice in the New York Giants? They're basically just signing old Ravens.
Yeah, look, I'm not super surprised at all. I'm sure John Harbaugh, he wants to establish a culture in New York. You bring in Isaiah Likely, which I thought was a very fair contract. He pretty much signed the same exact contract that Mark Andrews signed at the end of the regular season. Jordan Stout's there, Ardarius Washington, Pat Ricard, which was a surprise to see him leave Baltimore. It makes sense. It makes sense to bring in those guys that can help, already know the culture that John Harbaugh is bringing. And look, Harbs, he had a hell of a run here. If you spend 18 years anywhere in sports as a head coach, win a championship, that's great. It certainly was time to move on. That thing had gotten stale. But I fully expect John Harbaugh to immediately raise the floor of the Giants. I'm not telling you that they're going to make the playoffs next year, but they're going to be a lot more competitive football team under John.
Tim, last thing, and I'll get you out of here with this. The Chiefs have a new safety, Alohi Gilman. You're very familiar with him. He played in Baltimore last season. What are your impressions of him?
Yeah, Gilman, they ended up trading for him at the beginning of the year. That was the Odafe Owe trade. And what was so big when they brought in Alohi Gilman was it settled down the safety position. They were able to move Kyle Hamilton all around the football field. I think Gilman, very smart player. We saw him have some highlights. He ran back the Kyle Van Noy interception in Cincinnati for a touchdown. I will say something to keep an eye out for with Alohi Gilman. Not exactly the surest tackler in the world. Missed tackles were definitely an issue for him. But I think he's a solid football player.
That is Tim Barbalace joining us on the show. Tim, I appreciate you as always, man. Thanks a bunch.
You got it.
That's Tim Barbalace of 105.7 The Fan out in Baltimore. Rob, do you think anything should happen to the Baltimore Ravens? Because, talk about setting a pretty unique precedent. If the NFL penalized the Ravens for this whole back and forth with the Raiders, there is no precedent for doing this. By all NFL rules and standards, the Ravens didn't do anything wrong. The Ravens agreed to a trade. It's always pending physical. They brought that player in for a physical. They didn't like what they saw, so they voided the trade. Like, you are allowed to do that. But everybody who covers the NFL, and we could play audio clip from reporter after reporter after reporter, everybody is telling you this smells funky. So if it looks like a duck, it's got feathers, it's got a beak and it waddles, maybe it's a duck. I believe that the Ravens reneged on a trade with serious implications. This isn't like swapping 7th-round picks. This was 2 first-round picks and a substantial amount of cap space. And the Ravens just were like, no, we're good. I don't want to buy it. This isn't Facebook Marketplace where you can agree to buy something. All of a sudden, you check your finances ain't up to par, so you just block the person, and then you never hear from that person again, and now they got to sell the lawnmower to somebody else. That's not what the Ravens did here. So I think, in theory, there should be a penalty because I don't think you should do business this way, but I'm not really sure if the NFL can penalize them just because they didn't do anything wrong, they didn't violate any rules. I hope that the change from this is, with the competition committee, is let's just stop this legal tampering period and this 3-week where we act like nothing is happening, but we all know that deals are happening. The NFL season starts when they all get to Indianapolis for the combine. They just don't tell us what happens until 2-3 weeks later. But Kenneth Walker agreed to the Chiefs probably 8 days ago. They just couldn't tell us until 2 days later. But a lot of these major deals with the implications, how much money you're guaranteed, salary cap, all of those things have been agreed to for a pretty significant amount of time. I hope that that's the fix from all of this is let's just quit this farce of these 3-4 days of where nothing is official. No, we like you. We want you to sign here, sign on the dotted line, and let's conduct NFL business.
So to answer your question, nothing's going to happen to the Ravens. They didn't break any rules. And if there's one thing I know about our friend Roger Goodell, he is not going to penalize owners unless he has to. And neither owner broke any rules, so everyone's going to go about their business. You're right. I would like to see changes. I would like to see the legal tampering window go away. I would like to see, someone on the text line points out a third party committing physicals and not the team. I agree with that. Like, if the Chiefs wanted to fail Kenneth Walker, they could fail Kenneth Walker. It's their doctor who looks at him. Like, I don't like that either. I want to see changes from this, but there will be no actual punishment because no actual rules were broken. I also think this, if we're going to talk about, I like your idea to kill the legal tampering window, but Carrington, you know as well as I do, speaking of Goodell, they like dominating the media cycle. And you got on college basketball's second biggest week, you've dominated the headlines with this. And that matters to Goodell way more than we think it does.
For sure, but it's the NFL. They're going to dominate that period anyway. Now, maybe the argument and your point is they want to do it while college basketball is happening. Well, what's wrong with February dominating? I mean, the moment that Max Crosby was going to be traded was going to be the top story in sports regardless of when it happened. So it didn't matter if it happened on February 27th or if it happened on March 9th, it was going to be the number one story. So I'm guessing that the Ravens and the Raiders have been having conversations for quite some time because a trade of that magnitude, I'm giving you the 14th overall pick, a future first-round pick, and we are agreeing to take on a player who currently has a 4-year, $110 million contract. You didn't talk about that for 3 hours. You have been working on this for days. You have been doing it. And I firmly believe that Trey Hendrickson was asking for way too much money by NFL standards, and he was still going to get paid, but maybe he wanted a 4th year, and everybody was only really willing to offer 3. I think that the Ravens are monitoring this situation like the rest of the league, started to see the number come down, and I think they had to make a decision. And the decision is either we can do what's in the best interest for us or we can do what's right. We're not doing what's right. We don't think what right is what helps us. There's no argument to me that if you were talking about building a football team, they made the right decision. They got a comparable pass rusher, a little bit older, but just as productive. They get to keep the 14th pick. They get to keep their first-round pick next year. But I thought we always talk about a man's only as good as his word. When you shake a man's hand, that has to stand for something. Isn't this the same thing that we're preaching to these college kids when it comes to the transfer portal? Isn't this the same thing that we're preaching in college athletics? How you shouldn't be able to do this and you shouldn't do that? The pros are doing it. Everybody is doing it. Everybody is chasing a bag. Everybody is looking out for themselves. I just don't think you should be able to do business the way the Ravens clearly conducted business here. I think they did some shady dealings, some shady negotiations. And I don't think you should be able to play the game that way. A man got to have a code. Ain't that what Omar said? A man got to have a code.
I think there are two things at play here. There's the law and the spirit of the law. The Ravens violated the spirit of the law. To your point, it was dirty pool. But like technical rule breaking, did they actually have any infractions? No. They did nothing technically illegal. But hopefully this leads to some changes to make it so we don't have these little gray areas around the rule.
Yeah, and someone just says the legal tampering period won't stop trades. The trades can't be official. Tampering only affects free agents. I'm saying is let's just start it all at one time. At one time. Let's not have this period. No. The moment we leave the combine, March 1st, start conducting business. Start doing your trades. Start doing your free agency. Start doing all of those things on March 1st. That I think at least here, the legal tampering period, so you make a trade, now you're out signing these free agent deals. Now this trade didn't go through. Now you got to go back and you got to move all these things around. No, it's open for business. It's open for business. You want to make a move, you want to sign a guy, you want to trade a player, great. Max Crosby should have been there doing this before they even, it's a weird gray area I think we've created when it comes to these NFL moves. This doesn't happen very often. This just happened on the absolute biggest scale with, in my opinion, one of the 10 best pass rushers in the league. I mean, this was a significant trade. They traded 2 first-round picks to go get him. One of the picks was the 14th overall pick, and the Ravens just said, nah, we're good. We don't want him. All right, coming up on the other side, I don't know if K-State's season could have ended more appropriately. We'll talk about it. Keep right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on Kansas City's only FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
FanDuel is giving customers a profit boost every single day through March 15th. From now until the final 68 is revealed, you're getting daily profit boosts for a chance at boosted winnings on your college basketball bets. Trust me, you do not want to miss a single day. You're going to want to check in often to get those daily profit boosts. As we enter conference championship week, you know I'm not giving up on my Jayhawks because Darren Peterson is going to warm up. And when he does, I promise, watch out. Build a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout, or try live betting and jump in after tip-off. Best of all, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. So just visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. That's FanDuel.com/local. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issues non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What's up? It's Draymond Green. I'm back for my 14th NBA season, and my podcast, The Draymond Green Show, is back too. This season, I'm breaking down games, reacting to the biggest NBA stories, and sitting down with teammates, rivals, and culture shapers. And trust me, I'm not holding back, on the court or on the mic. 2 new episodes every week. New segments, big conversations, real basketball talk for the real hoop heads. Listen to and follow The Draymond Green Show wherever you get your podcasts. We're back, we're better, let's get it.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family. Because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Come on. No! It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up. I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe? Yeah. I only paid to know. Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
If you love sports, this is the show for you. It's You Better You Bet with me, Nick Costos. Weekday mornings 9 to noon Eastern on the free Odyssey app and YouTube at The Costos. Bringing you the biggest NFL news, guests, and notes from the offseason while getting you ready to win the madness of college hoops. It's You Better You Bet with me, Nick Costos. Live and interactive Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. Presented by BetMGM. Download the Odyssey app and listen from anywhere for sports talk from people who love sports.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days if your bet loses. Here's how it works. Place a tournament bet using the token, and if it doesn't win, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. The craziness of March is here. Take advantage with our friends at FanDuel. That's 10 chances to play all tourney long, from game props, money lines, spreads, totals, futures, and so much more. You can even mix things up with the same game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. However you want to fill out your bracket. Remember, FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the action day after day after day. So visit FanDuel.com/local to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/local. It's your time to dance with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app and the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Must apply select token each day. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. Expires 7 days. Free. Tokens are received in increments of 1 per day. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This afternoon, likely showers, thunderstorms, mostly cloudy, high 50.
Weather brought to you by Staples. From posters and presentations to labels and loyalty cards, Staples has all the print to boost your brand. Shop now in-store and online. Staples. That was easy.
Follow this station on Instagram at TheFan965 for giveaways and behind-the-scenes content.
Rob, you know what? This is a small, minor complaint that I have about listeners, texters, sports fans, people in general. I don't know when we started arguing factual statements. Now, maybe that sounds silly coming from me when I told you that I don't think Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points. But, Rob, yesterday I tweeted Kansas State's season ending with them getting a 40-piece hung on them and complaining about the court is a very fitting end. A lot of K-State fans were saying he wasn't making excuses. Never said he was making excuses. Those two things I said happened. Only one team so far in the Big 12 tournament, the ladies, there was a whole women's tournament on that exact same court last week. Can anybody tell me a player or team that complained about the court? Can anybody tell me in the early session, because the K-State game was not the first game of the men's session, it was the third game of the men's session. There's already been games today that have happened. So far, this futuristic court that they have created, there has only been one team that has complained about it. If that is not if I could give you a 24-hour snapshot of how the 2025-2026 basketball season went for the Wildcats, it is them in front of a half-empty T-Mobile Center, a large majority of them there to see the potential #1 overall pick. He puts on an absolute show, absolute display of I'm the best prospect in this draft, does that on K-State. Afterwards, K-State's team is complaining about the court and their coach, who just for the last month has been telling you how miserable he is being the head coach currently at K-State.
Absolutely miserable. I can't use another word than absolutely miserable. Every day, ulcers, not sleeping, not feeling good. I have an issue, I have a problem, and I've had it my whole life. And when I reached out to our psychologist that did the testing on us, he just said, Coach, that's just the way you're wired. All you're about is making sure things are organized and things are right. So if somebody gives me a task, my dad says that your last name's on everything. Don't ever screw up our last name. And so because of that, I'm wired differently. And so it's been very hard to mourn or be emotional. And I even asked my psychologist, why aren't I emotional? Why aren't I crying? He's one of my best friends. His daughter's my goddaughter. But it's because he asked me to do something, And I told these dudes, I'm going to do it. And when someone asks me to do something, that's the one thing I am. I'm consistent. And so it's been miserable from that perspective. But they wouldn't know that because all I tried to do was just pour in to the staff, to the players, to the GAs, to the managers. And our staff, to their credit, they tried to pour in and just, it took a lot to hold it together. A lot. But if you're a man and you're a grown man and you make a decision to come to Kansas State, no matter what the outcome is or whatever the responsibilities are, when somebody asks you to do something and you say yes, you do it. And that's just the way I was raised.
Every time I've been to Manhattan, well, not every time. I went to the Missouri K-State football game the last time they were there in Manhattan. I did not have a great time in Manhattan. In fact, I had a miserable time. Rained the whole time. My team got smoked. I did not have a good time. Every other time I've been to Manhattan, it's been great. But I got a legitimate question. What happens there? Rob, think about the last press conference from the last handful of Kansas State coaches. Do you remember Bruce Weber's last press conference where he basically said, I hate K-State fans and you guys are just driven me to a place of unhappiness. You just bother us on Twitter. Jerome Tang, his last press conference was basically a meltdown. That's the last time we heard from Jerome Tang. Meltdown the last time we heard from him. Matthew Driscoll, how stressful could it be being the head coach of Kansas State for these last 3 weeks? They wasn't giving you the job. You know what your responsibility is? Hey, man, just don't get arrested. We had almost everything go wrong. We had players not qualify. We had one of our assistants get kicked off the team. We had our head coach get fired. We're playing in day one of the Big 12 tournament. Almost everything that could go wrong for Kansas State basketball went wrong this season. All you needed Matthew Driscoll to do was just finish out the year. That's all you needed him to do. Like he was the last person in the room, and all you needed him to do was make sure the light got turned off. You don't got to clean up. You don't got to pick up. Just make sure you lock the door and turn the light off when you leave. Ulcers, it could not have been that stressful being Kansas State's basketball coach for these last couple of weeks. You were stressful going into Allen Fieldhouse? You guys did exactly what I thought you were going to do. Get smoked. It should have been nothing but happiness and vibes. Hey, you know what? I want you guys to put as much tape out there so when you guys hit the transfer portal, everybody is in a good situation. To hell with the rotations. To hell with trying to win. Let's just, you know what? Why don't we all do the best we can so we can get out of here? I was reading one of the K-State people. They said that the coaches, they got to have their stuff out by Friday. I don't know how stressful it could have been. You had a 0% chance of getting the job. Every time I've heard Matthew Driscoll speak, he sounds like he's in absolute agony. I've never been more excited for a season to be over than this Kansas State basketball season. Never. We will never talk about this season again after today. This is our last day. They're going to hire a new coach. We hope to have him on the show. I mean, I root for success for Kansas State basketball. I know Rob doesn't, but I would love if Kansas State was good at basketball. It'd be great. It'd be exciting if they were good. Kansas makes the tournament every year. Missouri's made the tournament 3 out of 4 years. I'd love for all three teams to be viable. It'd be great for everybody. I never want to talk about this season again. Just didn't sound fun for anybody. There's nothing I'll remember from this season other than the Jerome Tang press conference. That's all. That's the only thing they'd done over the last 5 months in Manhattan was they had one press conference and the kids wore bags over their head.
I will say, I thought when they hired Matthew Driscoll, it was going to be, we will never talk about K-State again. He has found a way to make us talk about K-State in all the worst ways. I was talking to some K-State media folks. This is probably right after the KU game. They don't like him. He can't stop talking about Jerome Tang. The school has told him, stop talking about Jerome Tang.
He don't care.
He don't care.
He don't care. I'm going to do whatever.
He's more clip-worthy than Jerome Tang is nowadays, and Jerome Tang was a walking soundbite. Matt, they should have fired Matthew Driscoll with Jerome Tang.
How much money do you think Matthew Driscoll is making? Like, I'm just, like, I hate this. I know it's all relative, right? But, like, man, if I was making as much money as they were making, I'd never complain. Like, I get it. It's all relative. You know what Matthew Driscoll's base salary was this year? $550,000. He also got, I'm reading it, he also got a $8,000 yearly car allowance bonus. So they're paying his car payment. And he gets performance bonuses. I'm assuming they didn't hit any of those this year in Manhattan. I don't know what performance bonus they could have hit other than show up for every game. $550 in Manhattan. If you make $550,000 and live in Manhattan, Kansas, you're basically Jeff Bezos. You're basically you're Warren Buffett. It don't cost nothing to live in Manhattan. You can live like a king. They give you $8,000 to pay for your car. Hey, all they telling you to do is for just 1 month, hold it down. Matthew Driscoll made it seem like that was the worst thing in the world.
Therefore, they asked two things. Hold it down and don't mention the guy that was fired.
That's all they asked him to do.
They couldn't do it.
That's all they asked him to do. Somebody on the text line said, show some respect for the team that plays on your station. They didn't show no respect for themselves this season. No. They didn't respect our time. Their fans were wearing bags over their head. I got no respect for the 2025-2026 Kansas State basketball team. Good riddance. Coming up at the top of the hour, our guy Joshua Briscoe is going to join us for the Chiefs Radio Network. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. When severe weather hits, tune in to 98.1 KMBZ for Operation Stormwatch. Brought to you by Century Roofing. Proudly voted the #1 roofing company in all of Kansas City. CenturyRoofingKC.com.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Hey, March Matchups fans. BetMGM is offering a legendary experience for you and 3 of your friends in Vegas. Climb the BetMGM Court of Legends leaderboard for a chance to win the trip of a lifetime to Las Vegas to see Haley and Hannah Cavender face off at the Bellagio. Just sign into your BetMGM account, opt into the promotion, then start placing sports bets of at least $10 to climb the leaderboard. 25 winners will take home grand prize packages that include 4 tickets to the Court of Legends event featuring the Cavender twins, withdrawable funds for travel, a 3-night stay at the MGM Grand, and MGM Resorts credit. Make this March one to remember. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offers. Subject to eligibility requirements. Withdrawable bonus dollars for flight money. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tune. Liberty Mutual, saving you bucks by protecting your truck. 'Cause Birdie told me to only pay for what I need. Thank you, Limu. I'll always trust a Nemu with Liberty, 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 Liberty.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. Lose weight hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Spring deals are popping up early at Lowe's. Right now, get 4 bags of Stay Green 2 cubic foot mulch for just $10. Plus, save $20 on an Ego 56-volt string trimmer, now just $199. Spring starts better when you save early. Don't miss out. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 3/18. Mulch offer excludes Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. Burns' season preview show is Thursday, March 12th, starting at 6 o'clock, right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Joshua Briscoe. He does pre and post game for the Chiefs Radio Network. Briscoe, what's the most points you've scored in a basketball game?
Oh, 6 maybe. I had one like rec league basketball season. Our team lost every game. We had like 6 players. One game, one of our 5 who was there fouled out. We finished with 4. I'm not proud of most of my athletic accomplishments, but basketball more so than any. It is something I enjoy. It is not something I am good at.
Have you ever pulled a Baltimore Raven? So the example would be, let's say you agree to buy something from somebody. You then maybe check your finances. Your finances are a little bit messed up. So then you start to ghost the other person or potentially block them. And now they have to find somebody else to buy the product. Have you ever done this to somebody?
I don't think so, no. I don't think I've ever, maybe this is just, a sign that I'm ready to run an NFL team. I don't think I've ever gotten that far into the process. Like, there's probably been, the verbal agreement of, I'll get concert tickets for that. I'll get that locked up, but never to back out after, like, a friend has already bought their ticket. At that point, I just feel like I'm in. Even if the physical doesn't come back with the details you want, I feel like you've crossed the threshold there. So, no, Carrington, I gotta go. I am gonna be on Cody and Gold tomorrow, and they asked me to not be on with you anymore today. So I'm gonna go ahead and just actually renege on this now.
So, that's how it is. Obviously, that's in style right now. A man's word is a man's word. You shake a man's hand, it used to mean something. You look a man in the eye, it means something. It obviously doesn't mean anything in Baltimore. So I want to run through some of the things that we've been talking about on the show so you can kind of get our stance on it. Now, you listen to the show enough to know Rob does not like the Kenneth Walker signing. He plays running back in the National Football League, hates it. He thinks they should have got Kenneth Gainwell, for example. Why I like the move is I looked up every running back contract. I looked up every wide receiver contract, every tight end contract. He is currently the 41st highest paid skill position player in the league. I'm looking at this more than just RB1. I'm looking at this as skill position player, playmaker number one. What I think the Chiefs desperately needed was an infusion of explosiveness on that side of the ball, and they needed somebody that they can count on. I don't know if you can count on Rice heading into this year. I'm not sure if you can count on Xavier Worthy this year. If there's one thing I feel pretty confident in, it's if Kenneth Walker stays healthy, he's going to have at least 1,000 yards from scrimmage, and I think that's really valuable to Kansas City, and that's something they were obviously willing to pay for.
It's definitely really valuable, and philosophically, I generally am closer to where Rob is at, to where, like, I remember the 2020 pre-draft process very, very well, and it did not go very, very well for what I thought the Chiefs would and should do. The Kenneth Walker deal, I do think, and also I'll say, I'm not big on Jeremiah Love at 9. Obviously, that's out of the picture, and it doesn't seem like he's even getting to 8 now. It seems like the Saints and Chiefs both said, hey, that's not going to be an option for us. But I wasn't excited about Jeremiah Love at number 9 overall, not because he's not an awesome player, but because when you have that draft capital, and in Love's case, he'd still be one of the higher paid running backs in football, being drafted as highly as he'll be drafted, you end up kind of double dipping with your resources, and then you spend that premium draft asset on a non-premium position. What I think is interesting from what the Chiefs did, not only with Kenneth Walker, but we'll talk about him the most because I think you're on the right track in terms of the logic behind it, but Kenneth Walker and Alohi Gilman and Kyrus Tonga, running back, safety, defensive tackle, and like a nose tackle type, those are not premium positions. That's kind of the Chiefs, I think, patching over some of the biggest holes in this roster that can be patched over for $10 million a year, $15 million a year, Tonga's case, $7 million a year. You're able to actually get more bang for your buck in free agency rather than taking Love or Downs with the 9th overall pick and solving your running back or safety problem. So it is real money for Kenneth Walker. And I also like Kenneth Gainwell. I've been thinking about the Tyler Algier, Kenneth Gainwell combo. Could you have done that and saved a little money? That would have been fine if the Chiefs would have gone that direction and say, hey, they're double dipping at running back with cheaper bets to try to see if they're able to get some of that explosion. But then going to the top of the market here, it's very, very different than paying Kenneth Walker $25 million or what it might take to get Romeo Doubs even. I think I'd probably, with where the Chiefs roster is at right now, I think I'd probably rather have Kenneth Walker and the extra $5 million, wherever that Doubs contract ultimately settles. The reporting on that was crazy. But I think I'd rather have Walker and some extra money to work with than just paying for Romeo Doubs that way. Certainly rather than trying to get into the Alec Pierce sweepstakes. It's the same logic for Tonga. Give him $7 million a year because right now you can't get above average defensive end play for $20 million a year. Good players are getting elite money. So I think that's the logic of saying, hey, your dollar stretches further for a top 10-ish running back, for a stopgap, stop the bleeding kind of safety, for a really useful nose tackle than it does trying to make one of those big splashes at a premium in free agency where those prices are so inflated.
That's interesting you say that about wide receiver because if you ask me right now, like if it was an available bet on DraftKings, and I'm sure at some point that it will be, or FanDuel, where it says Chiefs position, what are they most likely to draft with the 9th overall pick? Right now, I would bet on wide receiver. I am betting that I think their offseason plan is going to be we need to be more explosive offensively. We did that on day one with picking up Kenneth Walker. I also think that they're going to have their choice at wide receiver. Between Carnell Tate, between Mekhi Lemon, and also between Jordan Tyson from Arizona State, I think they're going to be able to pick the top wide receiver on the board. I think that's going to be too hard for them to pass up. If you're asking me right now, where do I think they go? I think they're drafting wide receiver at 9.
Boy, I hope they get their choice of those guys. That would be an incredible luxury there at 9. Because right now, my head is at a place where I'd say if you told me, hey, at 9, they will have at least one of Tate, Lemon, and Ruben Bain available. If one of those 3 guys will be there at 9, I'd say, cool. We can all exhale. Those are the 3 guys that make the most sense to me. I like Jordan Tyson. The injury thing seems to kind of spook some people. And again, you think about what kind of receiver the Chiefs could use. Mekhi Lemon, in terms of like the volume that this offense, I think, has room for that role in right now. Man, he makes a lot of sense. I really like Carnell Tate. I think I said this like before the playoffs started, that I would like for the Chiefs to just be able to draft the best Ohio State receiver available and see how that works. Obviously, defensive end is the other position that I think gets thrown in there. And understandably so, because again, you're not able to do a ton in free agency with limited cash. Like in Chris Jones, I'm sure you guys already mentioned, but Chris Jones just tweeted Cam Jordan a little bit ago. Just the name Cam Jordan, nothing else. I think some sort of like veteran stopgap there at least prevents them from having to take an edge at 9, and then hopefully being in a position where they can have their choice of Tate, Lemon, Tyson, whoever they like, and then you are almost then guaranteed to go edge at 29. Maybe it's Zion Young, maybe it's another player in that similar tier, but that makes a ton of sense to me. If you have the opportunity to get one of, I don't know if it's a big 3 or a big 2 of the wide receivers, because it does seem like Tyson's taken a step down. But if you get your choice of Tate or Lemon, frankly, if you get either of Tate or Lemon at 9, you can go defensive line and secondary at 29 and 40 and still get very, very good players. I think I would rather have one of those top 2 receivers at 9 and then figure out edge at the end of the first round. But if Tate goes to the Titans and Lemon goes to the Saints, and suddenly now you're saying, oh, well, defense has fallen, I think you could end up with Reuben Bain there and still feel pretty good about it. But I am with you on sort of the offensive explosion being the main storyline of this offseason. They've got the offensive line to set up the game up for Kenneth Walker. Obviously, you're expecting to have Mahomes back, as these reports have said, around week 1, before week 1, whenever he comes back. I'm not really putting my bet on him being, touching the field in St. Joe, but however it comes together, by the end of the year, if you can have an explosive version of this Chiefs offense again, I think you're saying that Spags and Dave Merritt and the guys over there on the defensive side of the ball can do enough for you to be incredibly dangerous come playoff time.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Briscoe of the Chiefs Radio Network. He does pre- and post-game. The Trent McDuffie trade is official. No Baltimore Ravens there. The Rams just tweet out, back in his hometown, locking it down. Trent McDuffie, welcome to the Rams. So that trade is now official. Trent McDuffie is currently a member of the Los Angeles Rams. Let's get back to the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's start with this, maybe a 1,000-foot view, and then we'll kind of narrow in on the individual moves. Outside of the Kenneth Walker move, what is your favorite free agent acquisition that they've made so far?
I guess it's probably Tonga, because I think that price is very reasonable, and it's another instance, kind of like with Walker, where they're paying legit money to solve a problem. And again, $7 million APY, 14 guaranteed, so it seems like it's really 2 years, $14 million, and you can, the structure, in year 3 always has some of those guarantees crossover. That's real money for a nose tackle type that they haven't really invested in that way since really like drafting Derek Nottie, frankly. And then obviously Nottie's just not quite the same player after his injuries pile up. Mike Pinnell's been very useful, but really up there in age. Tonga's able to come in now and bring enough athleticism to be able to still get to the quarterback occasionally. He's not a pass rusher. He's a first and second down D lineman. But if you do need to get after the quarterback, he has the ability to do that. He can penetrate in the run game and actually blow something up in the backfield. And then I think, again, kind of in this logic of how do we raise the floor of the defense without taking home run swings in terms of really, really expensive investments. If Tonga is the guy the Chiefs expect him to be and the guy that he was last year, then Chris Jones's life gets a little bit easier. George Karlaftis's life gets probably quite a bit easier. And then, Ashton Gelati or Cam Jordan or whoever it is on the other side theoretically benefits from that a little bit too. Jones has just been asked to do so much, not just in terms of like his snap count, but in terms of how offenses prepare for him, that I think signing Tonga is a pretty clever way of taking a little bit of that burden off of Chris Jones's shoulders, even though it's not adding a pass rusher, which would be the most fun way to do that from the edge.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest question I have right now about their team is, where's the pass rush going to come from? Now, it's just been 2-3 days of free agency. I'm not overly concerned about it. I'm not freaking out about it, but they've done a good job in really attacking things. On day one, they go out and get a playmaker, an instant offensive producer when it comes to Kenneth Walker. You got Kenneth Gainwell in my mind since you said him earlier. Mm-hmm. So Kenneth Walker, now looking at the nose tackle position, going to get Tonga. Makes a lot of sense to me. Day one starter, we're going to put him alongside Chris Jones, and we feel really good there. There is one, I would say, glaring hole, and we'll talk about the secondary more here coming up in a bit. I don't really know where the pressure is going to come from on the other side, and I don't want the plan to just be whomever we draft or Ashton Gelati. Like, I want something a little bit more proven. So I am all for them going to get Cam Jordan, a guy that had 10.5 sacks last year. You don't need him to be an every down pass rusher. If he's going to be a third down, situational, obvious passing downs, just go get to the quarterback, I'm all for them making one of those kind of signings.
And then to that point, Ashton Gelati can start for you if he's out there on first and second down because you like him setting the edge and he's young and getting experience and all of that. But then, yes, in those pass rush situations, Tonga leaves the field and Gelati leaves the field, and maybe Omar Norman-Lott is your guy on the interior, and then Cam Jordan, Omar Norman-Lott, Chris Jones, and George Karlaftis. That's a front four that you could probably get to the quarterback a few times a game. So I do think there needs to be one investment there. I thought they'd be in the market for Boye Mafe. They were reportedly interested in him around the trade deadline and all of that. Then those contracts come down. There was not an edge contract that I thought, oh man, the Chiefs really missed out by not matching that number, which is a pretty good indication of where the market's at. So yeah, if it's Cam Jordan, or if you want to give another mercenary round on a new team to Jadeveon Clowney or one of those guys, you can even wait until after all the compensatory math has been done, and maybe that's kind of the benefit now of waiting a little bit longer, and still need to get a final word on like Drew Tranquill and Noah Gray and some other guys that have questionable cap numbers while the Chiefs are still figuring out where to get that final number before the draft. But all that to say, I do agree. I think you need not necessarily a 80% of the snap, 70% of the snap even edge to join the roster right now. But if you have Cam Jordan and then Ruben Bain is your favorite pick at 9, that's fine because Cam Jordan is 45 years old. I'm exaggerating, but barely. You still have, now Ashton Gelati is suddenly a step down in the rotation because you've drafted ahead of him, and that's fine because I think you see him hopefully becoming a plus version of Mike Dana, Gelati, that is. So I do think there's still a path to get to competence there. I think right now, though, there is still a void. And again, I certainly don't want to go into the draft with this exact defensive line, because then it really feels like you're just taking the best edge available as early as possible. And if that's the reason that you don't end up with Mekhi Lemon or Carnell Tate, I think that's a mistake. I also don't. Ruben Bain could probably start for you week 1 through 18, and you'd feel good about it, especially as one of multiple guys on that defensive line you can kind of build around. But I don't think you want to do that for the guy you're taking at 28 or 40 or whoever that may be. They got pretty lucky with George Karlaftis. I know he hasn't become Myles Garrett, and that is underachieved for some people, but he's a very good player, and I think that contract is aging pretty well. He was hurt last year. That was a step back for sure. But ultimately, you can't expect the end of first round defensive end to be your day one starter and just totally stabilize that position the rest of the way. So that's still the place for me where I think that they need to make a move. And then also, I think you mentioned we'll probably get to it. I could see them still just trying to find a similar type of 1-year vet deal for a corner. The interesting thing there is that just might be Christian Fulton already on the roster.
I was going to end our conversation with Christian Fulton. Now, I don't think I've been negative. The text line has not gotten on me for being negative. Right now, it's Rob in the crosshairs, and I'm trying to keep it that way. I like the offseason that they have had. This is a question that I have, though, about the secondary. This is not me questioning Veach. This is not me questioning Dave Merritt. If you were telling me that going into the season, Christian Fulton is going to be their number 2, I'm going to assume Noah Williams is going to be their number 1. Their history when it comes to that, A+. Somebody is always next up. They're kind of like the Broncos at running back in the 90s and early 2000s. They just always had a competent running back. My question is with Christian Fulton, they didn't trust him to be on the field last year when the games mattered. They didn't start playing Christian Fulton until they had preseason games, the final 3 weeks of the season. Now he goes to maybe one of the 10 most important players on the team. So I do want this team to be aggressive when it comes to corner. I want them to go get another veteran corner. I also don't know if you can get outside of their top 3 picks that they have in the NFL draft. One of those has to be a corner in my mind.
Yeah, and I think for the draft, to kind of work backwards, I don't know where exactly their favorite pocket of value is, but if it's, I would say that I would be surprised if it was earlier than 40, but from 40 on, I wouldn't. I would be a little bit surprised for them to go first round corner at the end of round 1 even. I definitely don't think Delane at 9 makes the most sense, because I think they're just telling you, hey, no, we are going to keep doing this thing that we have been shockingly good at over the years of just, no, we'll have another you any minute now. We are going to figure out how to keep this succession plan going. Now, there were differences, though, in some of these other cases. You can all go all the way back to, Kendall Fuller when trying to figure out, how when Andy Reid got here, they were trying to stabilize some of that. But even just getting to like the most recent names, you had L'Jarius Sneed rising the ranks and really establishing himself, but then you have Trent McDuffie following him in that allows you to move on from L'Jarius Sneed in a way that hurts, but that you feel okay about. Well, then you let Trent McDuffie go and you don't keep Jalen Watson, which again, I actually didn't think they were going to do after trading McDuffie. But if you were going to trade McDuffie and then say, okay, Jalen Watson's our 1, Noah Williams is our 2, Christian Fulton, no slot ability for any of those 3 guys, but then Christian Fulton's our 3, you would at least have that kind of baton pass where there's one guy there's one guy in the spot where you're not replacing everyone all the time. That's why the Eloy Gilman signing becomes very important, because they were also doing that at safety this year, and doing that all in one offseason is a huge, huge deal. Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo deserve the benefit of the doubt here in a way that I give to very few coaching staffs, very few positional groups. They'll just figure somebody out to take that role over. I do think it's a good sign for Noah Williams, and I think what we saw from him last year was great, but the Chiefs also weren't in any hurry to get him a lot of playing time for a good chunk of last year. He stepped in at times and played well when he was out there, but it took a little while. He kind of disappeared for a couple of stretches that left people frustrated. Christian Fulton, I don't know. They were talking about his like training camp injury in December, and so I don't really know what happened there. And then he came out and he played in those last 2 games that didn't matter. He played pretty well, at least well enough for that cap hit this year to be something worth considering, because you don't free up very much by cutting him, and there's a big dead cap if you do. So I think that keeping Fulton makes sense. I think that Noah Williams has earned the ability to certainly at least compete for that starting job, but either of those guys being shoe-in starters is still outside of the norm, even for this Chiefs team that has been able to create so much success in that secondary, specifically stemming back from that 2022 draft class, and now all of those DBs are gone.
That is our guy, Joshua Briscoe, joining us on the show. He does fantastic work with the Chiefs Radio Network. He does pre and post. Briscoe, man, we appreciate you, man. We'll catch up with you down the line.
Hey, sounds good, man. If anybody wants to buy a Max Crosby Ravens jersey on eBay, just text me.
Who was on the team longer? Was it Chris Paul with the Lakers, or was it Max Crosby on the Ravens?
I think it might have been Chris Paul on the Lakers, actually. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Either way, yeah, some all-time lost jerseys being found right now. And apparently Fanatics having a big sale. I wouldn't buy anything.
That is our guy, Joshua Briscoe, joining us on the show today. Someone on the text line asked a good question. C-Dot, why do you not feel that way with Noah Williams that you do with Christian Fulton? They barely played him either. A large majority of my confidence with Noah Williams comes from the fact of they have anointed him as next, and they haven't missed yet. Now, I know maybe using a Broncos analogy here is taboo, but you guys remember there was a 10-year stretch there with the Broncos that every running back they told you was their number 1, that was a good guy to get in fantasy football. Olandis Gary Anderson, Quentin Griffin, like they would just make it work for a time period. That's kind of how I feel the Chiefs are building right now at corner. Whenever the Chiefs organization tells you, hey, watch out for him, he can be our number 1, they're 5 for their last 5. Veach has never gotten it wrong in this area. When they took a gamble on Charvarius Ward and promoted him, they were right. When they took a gamble on Jalen Watson, when they took a gamble on L'Jarius Sneed, we can go up and down the list. They've never missed in this way. So the way that they are maneuvering this offseason, letting Trent McDuffie go in a trade, letting Jalen Watson walk away via free agency, they are telling me that they think Noah Williams is it. That's how they're moving. So based on their history, based in their track record, I got to go with them. I got to believe it. They're undefeated when it comes to this conversation.
I think it's fair to trust the Chiefs at corner, but I also don't think it's unfair by the text line to ask, for a guy who played so little, how are they so confident? Because there is part of this math that's not mathing to me. And I think it's like a combination of both you and the text line's point. Like with Charvarius Ward and with L'Jarius Sneed and even Trent McDuffie, they were playing. You and I could see it. One of the reasons we had conversations on this show about trading L'Jarius Sneed is you knew you had Trent McDuffie. Me and you were fine walking on Charvarius Ward. You knew you had L'Jarius Sneed. The commodity was far more known. Noah Williams' snack count does not speak that of one that is a known commodity. So I agree with trusting the team, but their trust is mostly from what they're seeing behind the fence over at One Arrowhead Drive, because you, me, and Joe Fan, we saw it with McDuffie and whoever's next up. He's not on the field enough to see who's next up with Noel Williams.
Someone on the text line 913-586-7965. What's up, C-Dot? Why can't we go get Max Crosby? Because he plays for the Raiders. If Tom Brady, and this was the report, Tom Brady reportedly was not going to trade him to the Patriots because he didn't want to give him to Mike Vrabel. If they didn't want to trade him to the Patriots for that reason, the Raiders are trading their most valuable asset and their best player to Kansas City to currently solve Kansas City's biggest issue. I don't see it. I don't see it. He might get traded to the Cowboys. Just because the Cowboys said they're not interested doesn't mean that they are not interested. He might get traded to the Lions. The Bears might be on it. If there is one team I am 100% certain that Max Crosby is not playing for next season, I'm pretty confident it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming up on the other side, we'll keep our Chiefs conversation going. I want to talk a little bit more about Tyquan Thornton. Now, I'm happy that Tyquan Thornton is back, but I do have a slight reservation that I want to share with you guys. We'll do that next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days if your bet loses. Here's how it works. Place a tournament bet using the token, and if it doesn't win, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. The craziness of March is here. Take advantage with our friends at FanDuel. That's 10 chances to play all tourney long, from game props, money lines, spreads, totals, futures, and so much more. You can even mix things up with the same game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. However you want to fill out your bracket. Remember, FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the action day after day after day. So visit FanDuel.com/local to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/local. It's your time to dance with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app and the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Must apply select token each day. Bonus bets are nominal draw. Expires 7 days. Free. Tokens are received in increments of 1 per day, which can apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
How old is your roof? If it's over 15 years old, it could be time to replace it before small issues become major problems. At Century Roofing, we've installed over 35,000 roofs in more than 35 years right here in Kansas City. We know what to look for, and we know how to protect your home. Schedule your free inspection today and let our team give you peace of mind. Trust the pillars of strength with KC-based and female-owned. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Hey guys, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana & Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brenton and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Crash cleanup continues at Shawnee. 35 northbound just past Johnson. Scoot to the right to get through here. It is the left lane that's blocked. Downtown, that's a stall left shoulder, but a lot of onlooker delay. 71 northbound at Truman, just scoot to the right. Yep, that's moving pretty good. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Trey Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome back to the Drive with CDOT on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
I do want to talk about this Tyquan Thornton stuff. We'll get to it here just in a bit. I have a real quick question. I don't have to belabor the point. 913-586-7965. I remember last week I suggested Cam Jordan as a possibility for the Chiefs. And Rob, you remember I was met with very strong resistance from the text line. No, we don't want him. He's old. He's old. Why do you want this old guy? And I said, I think it's a little bit different if we're talking about the defensive line in a one-year deal. I think it's a little bit different if that's what we're talking. So I've always been in favor of a Bosa, a Clowney, a Cam Jordan on a one-year deal. That's not to say that I don't want them to find one of those players in the draft, but just have a rotational piece. Somebody gets injured over the course of the season. Having a guy that you know has a proven track record in that Melvin Ingram type role over on the other side is a positive. Chris Jones is tweeting out Cam Jordan. Are people now on board with the Cam Jordan signing because Chris Jones is in favor of it? Because when I was in favor of signing Cam Jordan, text line laughed at me, scoffed at me, mocked me, ridiculed me. It really hurt my feelings. But now Chris Jones wants to do it. Is everybody on board now with bringing in Cam Jordan? Because, boy, I can't wait to play the little harp sound to say that I said this 2 weeks ago on the show.
I am not in favor of it still. And I told you at the time, I'll tell you now.
You don't want the Chiefs to do anything this offseason.
I don't want them to sign AARP members to the team. That guy's collecting Social Security. What are we doing? You're the one that screamed at me all season long, younger and more explosive.
And they did that at running back.
Their pass rush move is going to be signing a guy who has to take his walker to go down to the field.
That's not all of the moves I want them to make. That can be one of their moves.
It would be their first defensive move, and it would be neither younger nor more explosive.
That's not their first defensive move. They signed
trading away McDuffie doesn't count.
No, they signed Tanja, who's going to be a starter. Who's going to be a starter. They signed a starting safety
who Baltimore
for them as well.
Baltimore people have told me twice now he can't tackle and he's a rotational player. By the way, speaking of edge rushers, have you seen Bradley Chubb just got paid?
How much did he get? I did not see this.
Okay, I should hit the breaking news center. My apologies.
Yeah, hit the button. No, don't tell me. Hit the breaking news sounder.
The Drive.
Watch
First
this
to
be a
breaking
contract
news
I
in
like.
Kansas
It
City.
better not.
Bradley Chubb is now a Buffalo Bill on a 3-year, $43.5 million deal that can get up to 52.
This is the kind of deal you wanted.
This is the exact deal I wanted.
Okay, now let me ask you this.
I would have, yes, I would have liked this.
No, I'm not asking that. Which one of these would you rather have? Would you rather have this contract or Kenneth Walker? Because that's basically the Kenneth Walker contract. It is the exact same contract.
This contract. I'd rather have this.
Okay. I'm looking at last year, Bradley Chubb, 8.5 sacks. You want to talk about an injury concern that you got with Kenneth Walker?
100%.
You got to have the same injury concern with Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb missed all of 2024 with the torn ACL. He's missed a lot of time in his career.
There is 100% tread on the tires. You're not gonna have me argue the other side. But if you're telling me $43 million for 3 years, and we both know 3-year deals are funny money. I'm betting it's less guarantees. We haven't seen the totality of it. That's just, 3 for 43, and it can get up to 53. Let's see what happens. But I would have taken Bradley
kept
Chubb.
Walker, but now in hindsight, I think the question now is maybe not would you rather have had Kenneth Walker or Bradley Chubb. I think the question is would you rather have Bradley Chubb or the other 2 signings that they have made? They've made 2 signings equal to this. They signed Gilman to this deal, and they signed Tonga to the deal. Like, if we add up how much money they have committed to both of them, they probably ended up committing the exact same amount of money that Buffalo just committed to Bradley Chubb. Buffalo loves rolling the dice on this kind of play. It's the 3rd time they've done this, is it not? They went out for Von Miller. They just got Bosa. They now go get Bradley Chubb. Like, they love a 30-year-old pass rusher to come in and help.
Let me ask you this. Now, it's technically the first day of the league year. Are you surprised the Chiefs haven't been prioritizing edge? Because me and you can disagree on running back, but we both thought if you were to list their top 3 needs, edge is on the top 3.
Not at these prices.
But that's the price is the price.
I don't disagree with you, but not at this price. This is the first one that I thought was in their price range. This is the first one that I would ask the question. I would ask hey, is this a move that you seriously considered? The text line also, sometimes I'm not sure if they have Google. Someone on the text line says, C-Dot, Bradley Chubb hasn't been good since 2020. Bradley Chubb last year had 8.5 sacks. 2 seasons ago in 2023, he had 11 sacks. So, I mean, when Bradley Chubb has been healthy, he has been a positive pass rusher. So I'm not pulling the Bradley Chubb ain't been good since 2020. I think that's inaccurate. I think he was good last year.
You can ask about health. Health is definitely fair. Part of the story of Bradley
I'd rather
Chubb.
have this contract than have Jalen Phillips if those are my 2 options. If I was Carolina, I'd rather have Bradley Chubb at half the amount than I got for Jalen Phillips.
That's fair. I think I'm not trying to protect it for Carolina. I think age probably played a factor in Phillips' deal, but I will say this. Credit to Brett Veach. Looking at some of these edge rusher contracts, the George Karlaftis deal doesn't look that bad anymore. The George Karlaftis deal doesn't look all that bad. If Bradley Chubb, who has a lot of wear and tear, is getting 43, but it's just this is the deal I would have liked the Chiefs to have. Maybe they were in on it, but be in on.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought the George Karlaftis deal is bad. I think a lot of it is just sticker shock, and we're talking about money in such a sense that I think it's hard for our brains to kind of wrap around. But, I mean, the contract they gave George Karlaftis was always fair, and that's just what it cost at that position. That's just what the market says that he's worth. You might disagree and say maybe that's not the player that we want, but if you think that pass rush is important on your team and you want somebody that you think has the ability to do it and is possibly an ascending player, you really weren't going to find too many better options than what you got with George Karlaftis. And this is the kind of was my argument I was making before we got to this entire conversation, that I think in some ways you and Chiefs fans are expecting there to be a George Karlaftis that hits free agency, and that player is never there. There is not the 24-year-old, been healthy, good pass rusher, has a chance to take the next step. That guy's just never available in free agency. The guys that are available in free agency are guys who have never really put it together, and their team just like, we don't know if you are going to put it together, or guys like Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, guys who have some pass rush chops, but have a clear injury history, so they go into it with a little bit more risk than other positions.
I also think, and we don't need to re-talk about the 2025 offseason, it's clear the NFL and Brett Veach handle positional value very differently.
I think they're going to trade for a defensive lineman too. Like now as I'm seeing the board play itself out
like
more
a Frank Clark type, like I guess define trade, because it was like Frank Clark shakes the NFL to its core, or is it like
I wouldn't be shocked if they traded for Kayvon Thibodeau.
Okay.
I mean, I would say that Kayvon Thibodeau is the exact kind of player that they normally go after. To give me more of a Brett Veach special than a Kayvon Thibodeau. He is a first-round draft pick. He's a guy who has had one decent season, but he was a top draft pick that I'm sure they scouted very heavily in the 2022 draft. They scouted very, very heavily. That doesn't look like he's in line to get another contract. So now, if you're going to move on from Thibodeau, now's the time to do it. That screams Chiefs third-round pick to me, especially when now you got extra compensation to play with because of the Trent McDuffie trade. Like if you're at if we're now asking the question of where could the veteran pass rusher come from, I think the veteran pass rusher could come from a trade. Could they be in on that guy from the Minnesota Vikings that's escaping my mind, or Kayvon Thibodeau?
Is it Grenard?
Yeah.
Yes.
Could they be in on one of those kind of moves? That's more in line with what they usually do than going out and giving a guy like Bradley Chubb $50 million. They've never done the Bradley Chubb contract. They've done the Kayvon Thibodeau trade. They've done that 5-6 times in the Brett Veach era. They've never signed the 30-year-old that wasn't on their team, who's been hurt over the last couple years, and you're just hoping to get something out of it. Buffalo's done that, but Buffalo and Kansas City are running completely two different races. Buffalo is looking for the right combination of players that can eventually get them over the hump and get them to where they need to be. That's not really the fight that Kansas City is having.
I would be very on board, price dependent on a Kayvon Thibodeau. I was just curious if you thought it was like, wow move, or like, no disrespect to the player, but remember the Chiefs traded for Emmanuel Ogbah? That was a smart trade. It was a good trade. But I
don't think there is a wow move at pass rusher anymore available. I think that conversation's over. Now, you can sign a good player, but I'm assuming whenever they make their move, even if they go get Kayvon Thibodeau, for example, Kayvon Thibodeau has 7 sacks over the last 2 seasons. Like, he has not been a good, consistent, get in the backfield, especially not for a guy who was the 5th overall pick in the NFL draft. Like, he's been a significant disappointment. If you go get Kayvon Thibodeau, it is you were betting on your pre-draft thoughts and feelings, and you are now hoping that in a contract year, you can just squeeze one good season out of him before you maybe got a franchise tag him, reach an extension, however you want to go about handling your business when it comes to Kayvon Thibodeau. But there's serious question marks when it comes to him as well. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to reset things. We're going to head to Las Vegas to be joined by Hondo Carpenter of Sports Illustrated. We're going to get his thoughts on the Raiders' perspective on what happened with Max Crosby. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison and Rob Brenton.
You losers is what you are.
On your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, March matchup fans, BetMGM is offering a legendary experience for you and 3 of your friends in Vegas. Climb the BetMGM Court of Legends leaderboard for a chance to win the trip of a lifetime to Las Vegas to see Haley and Hannah Cavender face off at the Bellagio. Just sign into your BetMGM account, opt into the promotion, then start placing sports bet of at least $10 to climb the leaderboard. 25 winners will take home the grand prize packages that include 4 tickets to the Court of Legends event featuring the Cavender twins. Withdrawable funds for travel, a 3-night stay at the MGM Grand and MGM Resorts credit. Make this March one to remember. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New and existing customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Withdrawable bonus dollars for flight money. Please gamble responsibly.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dane and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch, KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brennan and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
For over 35 years, we've been protecting homes across Kansas City, one roof at a time. That's more than 3 decades, more than 35,000 roofs installed, and 35,000 happy customers. We're proud to be voted best roofing company in Johnson County and all of Kansas City. At Century Roofing, we don't just build roofs, we build trust that lasts for generations. Experience matters, reputation counts, and we stand behind every roof we install. Trust the pillars of strength with KC-based and female-owned. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Okay, you're slow back to Overland Park because of the crash, yes, in Shawnee. 2 left lanes are blocked now. It's 35 northbound just past Johnson. Several cars involved. They can scoot to the right through here, but it is a slow go. We've got Raytown. That's a stall off to the right shoulder. A lot of onlooker delay for some reason. 435 southbound at 350. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Subscribe to 96.5 The Fan on YouTube to watch the show from wherever you are.
All right. We were going to talk about this, and we got sidetracked arguing about Cam Jordan. No one still answered my question, but it's okay. I asked the question a week ago when I suggested Cam Jordan. The text line told me it was a silly idea. Now Chris Jones suggests Cam Jordan. Text line now is all for the deal. Somebody said on the text line, well, Chris Jones has more pull than you do. What? Right is right. The truth is the truth. No matter who says it. You know what? I'm ready to move on from that, even though it upset me. I do want to share this stat with you. Now, I'm a little worried to share this because I don't want the text line to yell at me. They don't like when I bring up these stats or I point these things out, even though I like Tyquan Thornton. I am in favor of them signing Tyquan Thornton. I know Rob, he'll clip this and he'll leave out the first part, and then everybody be yelling at me like, wait, that's not what I said.
I need you in the crosshairs with the text line for a minute. I 2 days have been a
week.
lot.
Yeah, all week. They've been cooking you all week. They getting you out of here.
Which is how I know I'm right.
Do you want to know how many catches Tyquan Thornton had after Rashee Rice got off suspension? What would you guess? Text line 913-586-7965. How many catches would you say Tyquan Thornton had once Rashee Rice got off suspension? Because I would say one of the reasons that Tyquan Thornton was being used early in the season is there was no Rice and there was no Xavier Worthy. Who are you going to throw the ball to? So they were throwing it to Tyquan Thornton, and he was doing great with those opportunities. Was doing great with them. Rob, he had 6 catches after week 6.
6?
Tyquan Thornton had 6 catches after week 6. Now, they were all down the field, big-time plays.
Well, that's good.
He had 6 catches for 166 yards once Rashee Rice got off suspension. 6. Think about how much we talk about Tyquan Thornton and what he did. And from weeks 7 until week 17, he had 6 catches for 16 yards. Rob, they only threw it to him 12 times once everybody got back healthy. Once Worthy was there, once Rice was there, Tyquan Thornton got 12 targets the rest of the season and didn't score a touchdown. So I'm happy that he's back. I'm not here complaining about the contract. They're not paying him any amount of money. But I know, in June and July, whenever we start talking about how many yards guys are going to have, we're going to start saying some crazy numbers about Tyquan Thornton. Oh, I think he can get to. No, he won't. They just haven't shown me that when everybody is available, he's part of their offense. This feels like we like him, we know him. If an injury happens, which an injury happens, Xavier Worthy weighs 135 pounds soaking wet. Rashee Rice is, Lord knows, he might be on Judge Judy or Judge Joe Brown tomorrow. No clue what could end up happening with him. He feels like more of an insurance policy and a break in case of emergency rather than they are counting on his production in 2026. I am going to assume that the Chiefs are going to make another move at wide receiver. I think they're going to make another significant move at wide receiver. Maybe they don't take one at 9, but I think they're going to take one in their first 3 picks. Whether it's 9, 29, 40, I think they're going to take a swing at a wide receiver and just prepare for the future. I don't know if they're picking up Xavier Worthy's 5th-year option. Let's see how this year goes. I don't know if Rashee Rice is going to be on the team past this season. Let's see how it goes. So it's also a draft for immediacy. It's a draft for need right now. It's also looking into the future of what you can potentially have. So I think they're taking a wide receiver at some point early on in the NFL draft. That guy is ahead of Tyquan Thornton. He just by where he drafted, how many targets, how much he's going to be on the field. But that really was startling to me when I looked this up. From week 7 on, 6 catches for 166 yards, 12 targets, and no touchdowns down the stretch.
That's a jarring number. So let me ask you this. And maybe we're asking the same question, just different. Do you think his role, he being Thornton, is different in 2026? Because
no.
Up until the change, he was the guy. And then Hollywood Brown came back, Rashee Rice came back, and Tyquan Thornton had very nice seats for the game. Do you think he is different? Because it doesn't sound like you think he could be the Hollywood Brown type. And Hollywood Brown had, I don't remember the number offhand, but he had 500-ish yards
I think
last year.
Hollywood Brown was being used as wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. I would say that just based on my projections of how I think they're going to be, I think that Tyquan Thornton is going to be more wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. Now, an injury can potentially happen. A suspension can potentially happen. That could change our outlook on this. But now, if we are making a list of now the priority in the offense, Kenneth Walker, Travis Kelce, I assume they're going to pick up another running back at some point. I mean, their room's not just going to be Bashard Smith and Kenneth Walker. They're going to get another running back at some point. I could see him being a pretty significant part of their offense, especially if you look at the history with Kenneth Walker. He's kind of always been accompanied with the 1B or a solid number 2. We haven't mentioned Rice. We haven't mentioned Xavier Worthy. So we're talking about Tyquan Thornton being their 5th or 6th option. Now, he's fine if an injury happens, but just you and I know how this goes. In June, we're going to be throwing out these numbers. We're going to have Patrick Mahomes throwing for 7,000 yards because Tyquan Thornton's going to have 700 yards receiving and take a step forward. No, he's not. Just based on their targets, based on how they use that position, I think he is more of an insurance policy and a cheap one. I mean, it's a 2-year, $11 million deal. They didn't spend a whole lot of money on Tyquan Thornton. They have shown me a very limited role with him. He is a lottery ticket. They don't really have him run a lot of intermediate routes. He's going to run a go route. And I mean, they threw it to him 12 times. He had 6 catches for 166 yards. So they threw 12 50-50 balls to him. He caught 50% of them down the stretch. They're not giving it to him underneath. They're not running jet sweeps with him. They're not throwing it to him on 3rd and 5. No, he is a 2nd and 10. Let's see if we can hit a home run. That's how they're using him.
I don't disagree. But if that's the case, you view him as like a 150 to 400-ish yard type of guy. And 400 is probably north of 400 might be the northernmost it can get.
2 to 4.
2 to 4?
2 to 4.
So you think they're done at veteran and they're making another real investment in the draft? Because
I do.
What happens if they do both? What does that say about Tyquan Thornton? Because, like, Tyreek Hill is
I actually don't think that says anything about Tyquan Thornton. I think it says something about Jalen Royals. Like, now is when you should expect to see Jalen Royals. Maybe he's not a significant producer on your team. He had 4 targets last year. Like, Jalen Royals was not a part of the team, really, in any capacity. So if they continue to be very active at wide receiver, that would then tell me how they feel about Jalen Royals. So if we are going with, and I don't think it's a bad logic, I don't think it's a bad talking point, rookie, he played at Utah State. It took you a year to learn the offense and learn the speed of the game. Okay, sure, that's fine. But now we're heading into year 2. Yeah, if Jalen Royals is not a part of their offense in 2026, I don't want to hear any more about Jalen Royals. I'm willing to give him a pass on year 1. I'm willing to give him a pass. Again, small college, taking the big jump, learning the offense, all of those things. We will know how they feel about Jalen Royals over the next 8-9 months or so based on, A, how they build their roster, how aggressive they are at wide receiver, and then when they start playing the games, who's on the field, who's getting the ball thrown their way. He had 3 targets this year, which is still so mind-blowing to me given the fact they had 3 preseason games. The Chiefs' entire December was preseason games. They still couldn't find a role for Jalen Royals on the team. They still couldn't throw him the ball at the end of the season. You know what they should have done at the end of the year? This offense should have been treating him like Bam Adebayo. He should have had 17 targets in that Raiders game. The fact that Jalen Royals only got thrown the ball 3 times this year but played in 7 games, something went wrong in the way that they tried to evaluate the rookies last year. They wasted a lot of time, in my mind, that final month of the season. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to get to the top story in the NFL. What happened with the Raiders? What happened with the Ravens? We're going to head to Vegas next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. Here's your traffic report on 96.5, The Fan.
Okay, you're slow back to Overland Park because of the crash, yes, in Shawnee. 2 left lanes are blocked now. It's 35 northbound just past Johnson. Several cars involved. They can scoot to the right through here, but it is a slow go. We've got Raytown. That's a stall off to the right shoulder. A lot of onlooker delay for some reason. 435 southbound at 350. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
FanDuel is giving customers a profit boost every single day through March 15th. From now until the final 68 is revealed, you're getting daily profit boosts for a chance at boosted winnings on your college basketball bets. Trust me, you do not want to miss a single day. You're going to want to check in often to get those daily profit boosts. As we enter conference championship week, you know I'm not giving up on my Jayhawks because Darren Peterson is going to warm up. And when he does, I promise, watch out. Build a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout, or try live betting and jump in after tip-off. Best of all, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. So just visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. That's FanDuel.com/local. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issues non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Coming to Kansas City.
The NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship. 16 teams, 15 games, 6 days, 1 national champion. The NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship at Municipal Auditorium, March 19th through 24th. Non-stop college basketball action at a ticket price good enough to bring the whole family. Get your tickets now at NAIAHoops.com.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more, designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements: more energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Hi, I'm Carter. And I'm Charlie. We'd like to share a quick story about a homeowner named Jack. Jack had a home he needed to sell fast. And Jack thought he had it all figured out. So Jack talked to multiple cash buyers. Jack chose the highest offer. But the day before closing, guess what? The buyer backed out, leaving Jack with the moving truck all packed in the driveway and not sure what to do. Jack learned the hard way that the highest offer isn't always the right offer. Jack got suckered. Make sure you aren't hung out to dry. Call our dad at Rex Buys KC. Our dad is local, he knows Kansas City, and he actually closes deals. No repairs, no fees, no showings, no surprises. Just a fair cash offer and a smooth process. Now, don't be like Jack. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
CertaPro Painters recently painted my home and exceeded my expectations. I booked a free estimate, reviewed a detailed proposal, and scheduled my project on the spot. When you choose CertaPro Painters, you're partnering with trusted local professionals with over 70,000 five-star reviews. Ask about their spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in KC. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch all your favorite shows, shorts, and clips. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
I don't like what the Ravens did. As somebody who has seen the show The Wire 3 times, watches the clips pretty regularly, the theme of The Wire is a man must have a code. There's rules to things. And in business, in negotiation, when you shake a man's hand, when you look a man in the eye, that's your word, that's your pen, that's your contract. I believe that's what the Ravens did. Then I think the Ravens saw the market, realized that they could get a pass rusher and keep their first-round picks, and then they failed the physical for Max Crosby. They knew Max Crosby was hurt. He missed the end of the season, and he had surgery in January. I don't think the game should be played that way. I don't think you should be allowed to do business that way. We got the Ravens' perspective earlier. Let's go to the phone lines right now and be joined by Hondo Carpenter, who covers the Las Vegas Raiders, to get his thoughts on things. Hondo, happy to have you back today.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me on. It's always good to be on your station. You guys are hilarious, and I enjoy it when I'm in your area to be able to listen. So it's a real pleasure, and it's an honor. Thank you.
Absolutely. Always happy to have you on. So let's just start with this. What did you make of it? It certainly caught me by surprise to see the post yesterday that the Ravens had backed out of the deal. You're in the middle of it. What did you make of yesterday's events?
It was absolute BS, according to one NFL general manager. You know, another AFC team exec said to me, quote, he isn't recovered. This is a 3 to 5 month healing process. They had never traded a first-round NFL draft pick before, and they got cold feet, unquote. I mean, this makes the Ravens look terrible. And here is the whole deal. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't like what you bought, okay. But this is a league based on your word to people. And in talking to agents and executives today, I asked them, what's the repercussion? And one agent was very honest. He said, if they offer my guy a bunch of money, my guy's going there. He said, but I'll tell you where the noise is coming from. I said, what's that? And he goes, executives are telling me, well, we're going to remember this when we deal with them, that they're untrustworthy and that they dealt with another team that way. One executive said to me, I just had a piece go up at SI.com/NFL/Raiders/on SI. I sent it out on my Twitter. But one executive said to me, he said, in this league, there are only 32 of us. And so we compete. We want to batter each other's brains out. We want to beat each other. But when we make a commitment to each other, that means something. And it clearly doesn't to the Ravens. Now, one person was very honest. They think it smells like it comes from the top. This isn't a Jesse Minter deal. Another guy said to me that if John Harbaugh were still there, this deal may have never originally happened, but it certainly would not have ended the way it did when John gave his word. I think it's a bad look for the Ravens. And quite frankly, I think it needs to be a very bad look on the NFL. They need to look at it because then all of a sudden Max is in the building and you're negotiating with Trey Hendrickson. And, oh, by the way, you get them for $1 million less a year, and you get to keep your 2 first-round picks. I mean, listen, I said when the deal was made, I thought that the Ravens were not going to be a good team. I think they're going to be worse because of the loss of John Harbaugh. So I get that. I understand it. I'm not a fan, but you made the deal, and I think that this is going to hurt them for a while.
Right now, we're talking to Hondo Carpenter, who covers the Raiders for SI. Hondo, I know technically the Ravens didn't do anything wrong. You are allowed to rescind a trade if a player doesn't pass a physical. Sounds like you and I are on the same page. He had surgery in January. We all know that he is recovering from an injury. If you wanted to pass him, you would pass him. I think they failed him because they wanted to get out of it and wanted to negotiate and move forward with Trey Hendrickson. If Goodell steps in, should there be some kind of penalty for Baltimore in your mind for them backing out of this trade?
Well, again, I just talked to one executive who said to me, all of the medical files were shared. Max hasn't hid anything. He puts his entire life on Instagram. You've seen videos of him playing basketball with his daughter Emma in his personal gym in his house. I mean, they knew. So it wasn't like they got in there and there was something that the Raiders hid from them. They knew exactly what the injury was. They had all of the medical reports going in. This was people looking for a way out. Thank God my wife didn't realize prior to the wedding that she was making a big mistake. And the Ravens, if they thought they did, they were already essentially married. This was reverberating through the NFL.
Hondo, let's talk about the offseason that the Raiders have had. We'll get to if you think Crosby's actually going to be on the team once we get to the start of the season. I actually like what they've done so far. I like the move to go get Tyler Lindenbaum. I think they've made a lot of really good selections. I like the head coaching hire that they have. I think the Raiders, really aside from this trade where you thought you were going to get the 14th overall pick and have all this available cap space, I really like what the Raiders have done this offseason.
I love it. $280 million. I mean, north of $250 million in contracts. And here's what I like. And you guys know this because you've complimented me before when I've come on your station and ripped the Raiders. I'm not a fan, but I'm not a hater. And after years of dysfunction, they're sticking to a plan. Every guy they signed, 3-year deals. all of them under the age of 30, so they're going to be here through the rebuild into what they hope to be a return to the playoffs. The only exception is signing of one of their own, Malcolm Kuntz, who they only gave a one-year deal because he's been promising, but he needs to demonstrate it over a full season and not a half a season. Other than that, every single guy, a proven player, a proven starter. They're moving to a 3-4. They got both of their linebackers. They got an edge rusher. They went and got a tremendous corner in Taron Johnson. They stole him. Probably the best nickel corner for exchanging a 6th and 7th round pick, not because he's a bad player, but because Buffalo had to get rid of him for salary cap. I mean, this has been a tremendous job by the Raiders. And again, it's rare for them in the 7 years I've covered them to do anything consistently well. And since the firing of Pete, they've done nothing but be consistently well. So it's covering basically a new team for me.
Right now, we're talking to Hondo Carpenter of Sports Illustrated for a couple of more minutes here. I'll get you out of here with this. What does the future look like for Max Crosby in Las Vegas? I mean, they just traded you. The trade got rescinded, so now you're there. Now, he has expressed that he wants to be with the Raiders, but, I mean, this is a pretty unique situation now to go back to the team that just tried to trade you earlier in the week. Do you think he finishes this journey with the Raiders, or do you think now maybe Chicago or Dallas or one of these other teams now tries to jump in and maybe gets him at a little bit cheaper price just because of everything that's happened?
So that is a great question, and I'm going to tell you how an NFL executive voiced it to me. Max has awesome friendship and deep love and affection for Mark Davis, the Raiders owner. He loves the Raider fans. The relationship issues were not with Mark or the fans. And those issues still remain unresolved to the best of my knowledge. Something could have happened since this all went through that I don't know about. But at the end of the day, there was a divorce. And it's like one executive told me, it's like you go in for your divorce and find out the judge has the flu. So they put it off 30 days. Well, it's not like you're going to go back and pretend like, okay, we're happily married while we wait 30 days. You still are at the altar. I think the Raiders need to make this right. This is a tradition. This is a unicorn talent, one of the best in the NFL that there is, if not the best. And the Raiders need to fix this. But there are other teams that want him, that are willing to pay a high price. And again, I would think, and I'm not a fan, but I would think they would want to keep him, because why would you trade a guy in his prime who's the best at his position? But at the end of the day, they just did. So that makes me think it's going to be hard for them to keep him.
That is Hondo Carpenter joining us on the show today. He covers the Las Vegas Raiders. Certainly a very busy first couple of days of the league year for them. Hondo, it's always great catching up with you, man. We'll catch up with you down the line if something changes with Max Crosby.
Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure to be on your stations. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's Hondo Carpenter joining us on the show. The Ravens general manager, Eric DeCosta, he is speaking right now. I couldn't hear the audio. We'll play some of the audio for you once it's done. He doesn't even look believable. He hasn't got a suit on. He looks like he just came from a kid's sporting event. They don't have him at the combine. He's not even standing in a believable pose. I know he's up there lying. So this is a quote. Quote, "Nobody is more upset about this than me. I'm gutted by it, actually. Big regret for me, but we will move on as a football team." Oh, they lying. Nobody is more upset about this than me. He's gutted by it, he says. He just got back 2 first-round picks. Rob, he's gutted by this. No one is more upset about this than he is. Not a single soul. Not Max Crosby, who flew from Las Vegas to Baltimore, thought he was moving, started making plans on, hey, where am I going to live, all of these things. Now he's got to fly back, and he's got to go back to work for the team that just traded him. I'm sure they're telling him now how much they love him and appreciate him. No one is more upset about this than him. He's gutted by it, actually. Oh, they big line over there in Baltimore. If there's one thing I know, it's that Baltimore is eliminated from the Super Bowl this year. The football guys can't reward this. If you believe in that kind of stuff, if you believe in karma, what goes around comes around, and the football gods, you can't tell me the Ravens are winning the Super Bowl. You can't be rewarded with this kind of stuff. This This is bad business. This is dirty pool. The game just shouldn't be played this way. I think they looked at the market. They realized maybe they had spent 140 cents on the dollar. They found a way to get out of the deal, and then they just forced the failed physical. I think they did. I think you would be surprised. I think we all would be, not just you. I think we all would be surprised on a given basis if you just like did x-rays to NFL players or had them run tests. I think you would be surprised how many of them are like, ooh, this is way worse than I thought it was. I'm telling you, and I know this. I remember last year, people were like, oh, how do you know? I'm telling you, if Snead could pass a physical on his knee, if the Tennessee Titans saw Snead's knee and gave him a pass on a physical, you can pass anybody. If you really want to pass him, you can pass anybody. They could have passed Max Crosby if they wanted to. They saw a way to get out of it. They pressed the escape hatch. They'll live with the 24-hour, 48-hour bad PR. They'll do this one press conference. They'll never speak on it again. Nothing is going to happen from the National Football League, and they're going to make a pick with the 14th overall selection. We know how this story ends.
I mean, I will say, now, I like you said, we haven't seen the audio come across. The story that Eric DaCosta is painting, because he's been using Adam Schefter, he's been using Get Up, he's been using media friends to get the story out, that their plan was to have both.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. The quote that just came across, and again, we'll have the audio
They've
later.
really been playing Adam Schefter. We love Adam Schefter, but it is obvious where the Adam Schefter information has been coming from. It's been coming clearly from the Ravens. I mean, we wanted to have both of them. Okay, sure you did. Your plan was to give two defensive linemen $215 million combined this offseason. That was you guys' plan. Okay. And also lose 2 first-round picks. That was your plan.
He's now saying to the media, again, we'll have audio later, that his phone hasn't stopped ringing. He still has a very good relationship with other GMs and agents.
I'd be cussing him out if I was another general manager.
He's definitely getting calls.
You rotten. Yeah, I'd be cussing him out. He has a good relationship with agents and GMs, not the Raiders. You don't have a good relationship with Max Crosby's agent. I'm also going to assume that Max Crosby's agent has other high-end clients. Usually if you get to where Max Crosby's your client, he ain't your only one. Tyquan Thornton might have that kind of agent. Byron Pringle might have that kind of agent. Yeah. That ain't the kind of agent that Max Crosby has. He's got a guy that's like, all right, you got Max Crosby and Cam Jordan, a bunch of other guys. So, yeah, you got a good relationship with some of them, not all of them, not after yesterday. You got to let that smooth over a little bit. Nothing is going to happen. I will be very curious to see eventually when we get a statement from Roger Goodell what he thinks about it. You got to address this. It is obvious to me they reneged on a deal. They agreed to something. They saw a change in the market. They said, no, we're not going to do this anymore, and they backed out of the contract. All right, coming up on the other side, you know what? I want to take a trip down memory lane and talk about the 2022 Kansas City Chiefs draft class and how it changed all of our lives. We'll talk about it next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
Hi, Jason.
Hello, Toby.
Truck month.
It's here, Toby. It's actually truck month and a half. We've got all the way until the end of March to take advantage of these amazing incentives that Ford Motor Company pumps out during truck month, Toby.
And Lewisburg Ford.
We always have our $50 over invoice with amazing prices.
What's the deal?
Right now, you can get a 2025 F-150 for up to $16,000 off when you factor in our 50 over minus all the incentives. Or Ford gives you an option to take a $1,000 rebate along with 0% financing for 66 months, no down payment, and no payment for 90 days on the 2025s.
What about the 2026?
We've got a great selection of those too, Toby, and you can get a $4,000 rebate on the 2026, which means when you add that to our $50 over invoice pricing, you get $11,000 off on the 26, or you can take 0% for 36 months.
Okay, what else?
Toby, we're the #1 F-150 dealer, not just in Kansas City, but the entire Kansas City metropolitan area.
All right, what's your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Or listberg4.com.
Hey, March Matchups fans. BetMGM is offering a legendary experience for you and 3 of your friends in Vegas. Climb the BetMGM Court of Legends leaderboard for a chance to win the trip of a lifetime to Las Vegas to see Haley and Hannah Cavender face off at the Bellagio. Just sign into your BetMGM account, opt into the promotion, then start placing sports bets of at least $10 to climb the leaderboard. 25 winners will take home grand prize packages that include 4 tickets to the Court of Legends event featuring the Cavender twins, withdrawable funds for travel, a 3-night stay at the MGM Grand, and MGM Resorts credit. Make this March one to remember. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSets remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Missouri only. New and existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Withdrawable bonus dollars for flight money. Please gamble responsibly.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is your job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-939-1441. 800-939-1441.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
You got a problem just north of downtown, headed into downtown. 35 southbound just past front. Left lane is blocked, and big delays because of the crash. That's 635 southbound past Kansas Avenue. Right lane is blocked. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome back to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
I want to do 2 things here. For the first part of this, I just want us for the next 5 to 7 minutes to show appreciation to the 2022 Kansas City Chiefs draft class. How important it has been, how vital it has been in helping them maintain their dynasty. I tweeted this out yesterday for those of you that follow me. They were able to continue the dynasty because of how overwhelming the 2022 draft was. Now, the 23 and 24 draft, they kind of paint the picture of what inevitably was going to happen in 2025. But a significant reason of why this organization was able to be one of the 5 greatest franchises in the history of the National Football League was how overwhelmingly successful they were in the 2022 draft. It is hard. It is hard to have more success in a draft in which you don't need a quarterback. And what I also think is really important, we've kind of seen this throughout history. For example, with the Royals had a future Hall of Fame pitcher in Zach Greinke. When they made the decision to trade him, if you can get that right in what you get back, you can eventually take those pieces and help win a World Series. It's exactly what they did. That's how they got Lorenzo Cain. That's how they got Alcides Escobar. That's how they got some of the assets to go trade for James Shields. They nailed the Zach Greinke move. This is the offseason in which they traded Tyreek Hill, and look at what you turned it into. You had a bunch of picks, and you didn't just hit on good players. You hit on all-pro caliber kind of players and guys who maybe you didn't pay, but you completely maximized their rookie contract, and now you are happy to see them go on and get paid elsewhere. You used the 21st overall pick on a corner. 4 years later, he became the highest paid corner in the National Football League, and you used the 21st overall pick. When you eventually ended up trading him, you got the 29th pick and some mid-round picks, where if you add up the value, you got back more than what you used to acquire the player. That's an A+ in my mind. Also in that first round, you got George Karlaftis. Now, George Karlaftis maybe hasn't turned out to be exactly what we thought he was going to be, and he didn't take that next step as a pass rusher last year, but he's been a consistent 6 to 8 sack guy. And if you got that guy in the 30th overall pick, that's a good pick. You didn't knock it out of the park. You didn't hit a triple or a home run. That's a single, and you can kind of see if you're going to get a double or not. And I'd probably argue it is a double. The fact that you have agreed to a second contract, everybody is happy with that second contract, and there is still time for him to continue to grow and mature and maybe develop into that pass rusher that you thought his potential was going to be. So your first pick was the highest paid corner in the National Football League. Your second player was a guy in George Karlaftis who was worthy of getting a second contract and is a guy who can get somewhere between 6 to 8.5, 9.5 sacks. Sky Moore didn't really work out, but Brian Cook ended up working out, is now got a second contract to go play for the Cincinnati Bengals. Leo Chenal just ended up signing a contract to go elsewhere. Joshua Williams just signed a contract. Darian Kennard ended up not working out in Kansas City. He currently starts at right tackle for the Green Bay Packers. Kansas City just wasn't patient enough. They would have had their long-term answer at right tackle if they had been a little bit more patient with Darian Kennard. Jalen Watson obviously ended up working out. Isaiah Pacheco obviously ended up working out as well. I mean, we'd have to really go back and find it. Obviously, the 2017 draft class is different. You got a quarterback. But if we look and we just picked random Chiefs drafts, and I don't know if you would find too much better, certainly not in the last 25 years. You are not finding too many draft classes better than what the Chiefs got with the 2022 NFL draft. They had a lot of picks, and they didn't just hit on some of these picks. They hit on a large majority of these selections.
It's an extreme example, but I think you'll understand the comparison. Earlier this year, or I guess this last year at this point, the Cowboys had that big 30 for 30 on Netflix. And when they weren't talking about the White House and all their antics off the field, the other big thing that came out of that documentary was just how big of a win it was for Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones to turn Herschel Walker into the foundation of their franchise. You could argue the 2022 class is the foundation of the Chiefs dynasty continuing on. Because remember, they had won in 19, they got smoked in 20, they did not make the Super Bowl in 21. It wasn't hard times, that's an extreme comment, but it wasn't gravy. And they traded Tyreek Hill, and they turned that into Super Bowl appearance, Super Bowl title, Super Bowl appearance. It has just been a machine that keeps turning up until last season. So I don't know it will be as successful historically. I don't know we'll ever have a documentary about it, the way the Cowboys did. But there is definitely a comparison for what Jimmy Johnson did with Herschel Walker to what Brett Veach did with Tyreek Hill, because he turned them into a Super Bowl team every single season. And you could argue there could still be tentacles coming off it because of what happened with the Trent McDuffie trade.
Let me ask you this one. This is 2008. Which class do you think is better? In 2008, they got Glenn Dorsey, Brandon Albert, Brandon Flowers, Jamal Charles, Brandon Carr. They got all of those players in the 2008 draft class. Do you think that's better than 2022? Because that's a really good draft class. That's a really strong class in 2008. Which one do you think is better, 2022 or 2008?
I'm going to say 2022 because I think the top end's better. No disrespect to Glenn Dorsey. He was a fine player. McDuffie is a much better player than Glenn Dorsey. So because of the high-end first-round talent, I will say 2022, but that's a very good draft class. You know what's funny is Carl Peterson got fired after that draft class, which is what's crazy if you think about it.
And also, I mean, this is kind of what they need to do this year, is it not? You just think about it. Now, it's a little bit different. They had 2 top 15 picks in 2008, but they had 2 first-round picks. They had a second-round pick. They had 3 third-round picks. They had a bunch of picks that they can move around the board. This is the kind of draft that they need this year. I mean, say what you want about Glenn Dorsey. I'm with you. He wasn't worthy of being the 5th overall pick. I mean, guy played 100 games. Guy played 7-8 years in the league. If they found that kind of player in the first round of the draft, I think you'd be happy with it. Brandon Albert ended up being a guy who could play on the inside or ended up being a tackle. Did so for a long time. Brandon Flowers is a borderline Chiefs Hall of Fame corner. Jamal Charles, one of the 5 best running backs, probably 3 best running backs that they've had. Brandon Carr is in that same Noel Williams, Snead in that conversation. Remember, Brandon Carr went on to Dallas and signed a big contract to go with them. This is the kind of draft that they need right now. If you have that kind of draft in 2026, the Chiefs win. The Chiefs go to at least 2 more Super Bowls. If we're looking at how they've already filled some of the holes that they currently have on their roster with going and go get Kenneth Walker, if you were telling me that they are able to get in this draft class, they got a defensive tackle that played 8 years in the league. They got a really productive offensive lineman that played another 8-9 years in the league, a borderline Chiefs Hall of Fame corner, and one of the most dynamic skill position players in their organization's history, and a really, really talented corner. If you add that to the foundation that they are currently building, that is a team that gets very quickly back to the top of the heap when it comes to the AFC. They need one of these kind of drafts in 2026.
I mean, yes, but I think because you have Mahomes already built in, I think if you had a whatever year Mitch Morse was, he may have been the 14 draft, a draft where you add a lot of really solid role players. I was trying to look it up. I think it's 14, Mitch Morse draft class. If you had Mitch Morse, Chris Conley's draft class, I think the Chiefs walk away this year with a win. I don't think it needs to be the home run that the 08 or 22 one was. No one's turning down a home run, but I think because of what you already have existing in the franchise, if you have a strong double, for baseball analogy, you still have a strong draft class.
I want to play this audio for you guys really quickly. This is Eric DaCosta. He is the general manager of the Baltimore Ravens. He says that he wouldn't do anything differently with Max Crosby.
I think I'm hard on myself, and you question everything you do. In this business, you're never perfect, right, with the draft and with free agency. I think in this particular instance, I'm really proud of the team and the doctors and the guys that work with me, and this is a tough thing that we have to deal with in this business. I don't really know what we could do differently than what we did. So again, it's a really, really, really tough call. There were moments yesterday when honestly I was probably speechless, just sitting in my chair in my office and just thinking about what the next step would be and trying to get as much information as possible. And it wasn't, I should say, it wasn't just, in a situation like this, you try to get as much information as you can from as many different sources as you can. And it just didn't work out. So, tough, very, very challenging. We've dealt with these kinds of things in the past, but probably never at such a large a large figure. So challenging.
Did you try to renegotiate at all the terms of it?
You know, I think at some point you get to the point where, you know, when you look at the situation, you have to make the right decision. You know, it's not always about, you know, the value. It's just what is the right decision for the club at the time. And it's a hard thing to do. But as I said, when you're a steward of the organization and you're put in that position, you've got to make a tough call.
Hey, man, he really turned it on there. He sounded like a man who just had his girl go through his phone. Like, that's the kind of tone he had in his voice. I mean, I'm really torn up about it. I mean, I couldn't sleep last night. He really sounded like he was going through it. I understand that we live in a, like, audio clip. I wish the Ravens would just tell us the truth. What is the NFL going to do if they just tell us the truth? We made the decision that we think is best for us as an organization. We saw an opportunity to get an even better pass rusher, and we saw an opportunity to keep our draft picks. We have no obligation to the Las Vegas Raiders to make this deal. We will not address this further. I wish the teams could come out and give us this. Eric DeCosta wants us to think that this was some difficult decision for them. I mean, they didn't spend a whole lot of time moping about it. They told the Ravens no. They had his replacement 6 hours later. 6 hours later. So, no, I'm not buying it. I'm not believing it. You do dirty business. You shook hands with the man. You looked the man in the eye and said you were going to buy it. And then you checked your bank account, and instead of just being straight up with them, you blocked them on Facebook, you blocked their number, and you ghosted them, and you never talked to them again. Sure, you didn't sign anything, but you did dirty business is what I think the Ravens did. So I'm not going to let you go up there and give me this fake, sad, monotone, depressed voice when this worked out perfectly for you. This worked out perfectly. You got a great pass rusher at a cheaper price, and you keep your draft picks. I don't know why that kept you up at night. This was a win for you. You don't got much to figure out. You are in a better position today than you were 2 days ago because of this. So, yeah, I don't know how this tore you up inside. He then said earlier they didn't even try to go back to the Raiders to try to renegotiate the deal. They didn't want Max Crosby that bad. They weren't even willing to, hey, we got some questions about this. We still want to make this work. What if we take that future 1 and make it a 2 or there was other ways to do this other than, no, we're not going to make this deal anymore. I'm not buying what they're selling.
I'm not buying what they're selling either. But, I mean, he does make a point there at the end about, you know, our doctors said he's no good. I just don't like the team doctors are the ones that have this decision-making power. We really need someone in the text line said this earlier, and I apologize for not remembering the number. Congratulations to them for making this point. I think it's a great point. We need third parties to look at these physicals because you know how much we would clean up this problem? Like Eric DeCosta saying, hey, my doctor did a great job. They failed him. Well, did you want him to fail? Did you want him to pass? If it was the NFL's independent doctor job to pass or fail a physical, then you're kind of stuck. But the fact that a team doctor whose paychecks are signed by the team and thus they have an implicit bias are the ones that make these decisions should not be the way it works. So I kind of believe when he says, you know, our doctors did a great job and they did a lot of work to see if he was healthy. No, they did a lot of work to protect you, but they shouldn't be the ones doing that job.
I want to switch gears to something unrelated to what we were talking about because I'm still getting cooked for this opinion on the text line. Now, I thought you guys all knew this. Now, I understand why it's in the news today because of the Bam Adebayo thing. I completely get it. I've been telling you guys for years that this is my sports conspiracy. I feel like, Rob, everybody is allowed to have their own sports conspiracy except me. People are convinced the lottery is fixed, even though they fixed the lottery for New Orleans. Like, if the NBA lottery was fixed, I feel like the Knicks would have won it more than one time. If the lottery is fixed, I just feel like the NBA would be very different if it was. I don't think they would have gave Tim Duncan to San Antonio and not Boston if it was fixed. Like, I really believe that the NBA lottery is legitimate. But if you think it's rigged and that's your sports conspiracy, I can certainly give you examples of how you think it's rigged. LeBron James was born in Akron, Ohio, then he went to Cleveland. Derrick Rose, born and raised in Chicago, then just gets drafted by the Bulls. I certainly could see how you're putting 2 and 2 together. the Lakers get Luka Doncic, and then the team that traded him away gets the number 1 overall pick. It's suspicious. I'm with you. My sports conspiracy is I don't believe the Wilt Chamberlain. I don't believe the 100 points. I think it's a myth. I think it is a story that we told to continue to build up this mythological creature in the same way that we do with Bo Jackson. Rob, have you heard some crazy Bo Jackson stories? Man, Bo Jackson stood at home plate and he threw the ball up and it hit this. You're like, oh, man, Bo Jackson ran this crazy time at the combine, and we just believe him. Yeah, because people told us these stories about Bo Jackson, and they're true. There is, of all the significant sporting accomplishments that have ever happened in our lifetime, we have the fewest and the least amount of actual physical proof and artifacts that Wilt scored 100 points. There is no video of it. None. Give me the other incredible sports accomplishment that we have no video for. We got Jesse Owens running at the Olympics. We got video of Babe Ruth pointing to the outfield about the home run. We have no video of the Wilt Chamberlain. Everybody has seen the iconic picture with the 100. No one knows where that piece of paper is. That paper is worth millions of dollars if someone would have kept it. Millions of dollars. Hell, make it up. Wilt Chamberlain in 1971 just could have wrote 100 on that. It's the one I had here, Ken. I'm going to give it to you. We have no clue where the paper is. I've seen the rules of basketball from James Naismith. It is in perfect, pristine condition, like it was just written yesterday. We have no clue where the sheet of paper is. So we got no video. We don't have the most important artifact from the game, just missing. No one knows where it is. We've never seen it before. We don't have the full audio of the game. That was missing for 20 years. It magically popped up, but just the fourth quarter. Yeah, I got my doubts. I got my suspicions. I'm allowed to have my suspicions on these things. Everybody has a sports conspiracy. 913-586-7965. I don't care what college Wilt went to. I don't think this happened. I think the league was struggling in popularity, and they took this incredibly hyped prospect, great college player, and I think they were just building the myth of trying to create a star to get some traction. I think the 100 point, I think, was made up.
I mean, I don't agree with you, but I would say the fact that it was a gimmicky game in Hershey, Pennsylvania does lend a little credence to your thought. Why wasn't this game played in Philadelphia in their regular arena? So they were trying to promote the league, but I do think Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points that night. But
okay. I'm with you. All I'm saying is on the text line, other than they told us, that's all you can do is they told us he scored 100 points. Some of you believe way crazier conspiracies than me that we also have video of. Some of you do not believe that we landed on the moon, even though there's a video of us. We got video of us on the moon. We don't have video of Wilt Chamberlain scoring 100 points. We got the audio from the moon. We know exactly what they said. We don't got the audio of this. Somebody recorded over it. That's what they want me to believe. The most incredible thing in NBA history happened, and they want me to believe that an intern recorded over the audio of it. Knowing there was no video to it, knowing that the game wasn't on television, an intern recorded over it. Nobody kept the sheet of paper. We got Jordan's for Schuster's first game. Nobody has this paper. I'm telling you, too many questions. I'm serious. I got too many questions. 913-586-7965. You guys tell me what other conspiracies that you have. That's my conspiracy. I think the 100 points is made up. I really do. I think it's completely made up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
On your home for Chiefs football, 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, March matchup fans, BetMGM is offering a legendary experience for you and 3 of your friends in Vegas. Climb the BetMGM Court of Legends leaderboard for a chance to win the trip of a lifetime to Las Vegas to see Haley and Hannah Cavender face off at the Bellagio. Just sign into your BetMGM account, opt into the promotion, then start placing sports bet of at least $10 to climb the leaderboard. 25 winners will take home the grand prize packages that include 4 tickets to the Court of Legends event featuring the Cavender twins. Withdrawable funds for travel, a 3-night stay at the MGM Grand and MGM Resorts credit. Make this March one to remember. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New and existing customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Withdrawable bonus dollars for flight money. Please gamble responsibly.
Whether you're commuting to work or heading out for a fast coffee break, getting an auto insurance quote is just a tap away. With AAA, you're always connected, so you can focus on the road ahead. Rest easy knowing AAA's got you covered, no matter where life takes you. AAA, we're always with you. To start your quote, visit AAA.com/insurance. Insurance provided to qualified AAA members by Automobile Club Inter-Insurance Exchange and AAA affiliate insurers. Membership requires a separate payment.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Heartland Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
At quarterback, calling the right play could change the whole game. And when your car breaks down, same idea. Make the right call before the big repair bill hits. CarShield helps protect you from expensive auto repairs. Plans include 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, and rental car options, all to keep your drive alive. Look, breakdowns happen, but choosing CarShield, that's the easiest call you'll make all day.
Visit carshield.com now and join the team that's helped millions of drivers save. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Down in the Triangle, you'll run into a stall, right lane block, 435 northbound at Bannister. And then Raytown, let's see, wrecker on the scene. It'll be cleared soon, but still there, right lane block, 435 southbound at 350. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome to your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
The text line is cooking with my Wilt Chamberlain take. It's okay. And that happens. I have another take that I might get crushed for, but I mean, let's just keep that theme going. You know what I realized? Out of all the international sports, there's only one that we really expect to win. It's men's basketball. Maybe you could argue women's soccer is maybe the other national sport that has to win. You want to know how I know? What does this country call our pastime? It's baseball, right? Baseball is America's pastime. They are playing an international competition that is their version of the Olympics. Baseball's version of the Olympics is happening right now. We can't say who's on the United States team. Everybody is on the United States team. Bobby Witt Jr. is on the team. Paul Skeens is on the team. Aaron Judge is on the team. Bryce Harper is on the team. Like, there aren't that many baseball players that people know. If you know them, and they're probably on this team. Rob, how'd they lose to Italy in baseball yesterday? Italy? We've been passed up by Italy in baseball? They might not make it at a group stage. No one's going to care. They're going to miss the group. They're going to miss the single elimination. The brackets are going to be out, and no one's going to want to hear about it. There's only one national team that people really hold to a, you guys better win. Everybody else just gets to operate with vibes. United States soccer, no one thinks you're any good. You beat up, when the United States soccer team beats up on some country that's the same size as Rhode Island, we start dancing, celebrating in the streets, going crazy. They've never done anything meaningful in our lifetime. They give you a glimmer of hope. We wrap our arms around men's soccer. Men's hockey. When they win, they get documentaries about them. Hey, salute. Hey, when they lose, no one cares. No one knows what the United States hockey team did any of the other years. There's only one team that people really hold to. Hey, y'all boys better come home with the gold. Rob, we got passed up in baseball by Italy? That's unacceptable. If the men's basketball team lost to Italy, it'd be the top story on the 5 o'clock news. If the women's basketball team lost to Italy. We lost to Italy in baseball? That's supposed to be our thing. How are we losing to Italy? What went wrong?
Well, I mean, we can go into what went wrong. I'll say first things first. Their manager's a dope. That's first and foremost.
You know what? Are you talking about soccer or baseball? Because I don't know which one you're talking about. You've been telling me that for 20 years now.
I just like the new soccer manager.
Okay, all right. You want to know why? Because they ain't started playing games yet. Something tells me in June you're going to have a problem with them.
The baseball guy literally thought they were through and played a bunch of backups only to find out mid-game yesterday, oh, hold on, we're not through. And because you're not through, you now are in trouble and you lost to Italy and now you're sweating it out today. You got to have Italy beat Mexico or you're out. I disagree with your statement, and here's why.
That's terrible.
Every 4 years, when the United States doesn't do something awesome in the World Cup men's soccer, do you know what we have? We have conversation after conversation about what's wrong with U.S. soccer. How do we fix U.S. soccer?
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense why we're not better at it. It doesn't make any sense. It's kind
in that outrage, though, what you're describing is outrage.
No,
so
you know
the only outrage is basketball.
No, you know what soccer is? Soccer is Dippin' Dots. They've been telling us that it's the ice cream of the future for 50 years. It's not the ice cream of the future. I mean, I love Dippin' Dots. Don't get me wrong. It's not the ice cream of the future. People that love soccer like you have been telling us our entire life, hey, I mean, we're almost there. No, you're not almost there. No. Not even close to almost being there. So I think that's where the backlash comes from. The backlash comes from, this is something it feels like we should be a little bit better at. Now, I'm not saying we should be Argentina or France when it comes to soccer. We shouldn't be losing to teams with the population of Kentucky. We shouldn't be losing to those teams. We should be at least dominating those teams. We shouldn't be losing to teams with the population of South Dakota. I at least feel like we can band together as a nation, and we should be beating those countries pretty consistently.
That's fair. I also think, and the text makes a good point, while we did lose to Italy, the World Baseball Classic rules are pretty fast and loose with who is and isn't an Italian.
If I told you who was on this Italy team, you would be like, who? It's a cavalcade of who.
They got two guys I definitely know. But the two guys that I know,
it's a cavalcade, especially when I read to you the United States roster.
I'm just saying, the Italy roster, it wasn't like Vinny Pasquantino's their first baseman. It wasn't like he was born in Rome. He's of Italian heritage and is playing for that team. Jack Caglione is their right fielder. I don't think he was born in Sicily.
No, he wasn't.
So him being
he hit
on
a home run off the United States yesterday. He couldn't hit no home runs in Major League Baseball. He gets to the World Baseball Classic, turns into Aaron Judge against the United States. I'm telling you, there's only one team with a real expectation to be good. Let's talk about Jack Caglianone, who did hit a home run yesterday. I don't know if this counts as a hot take or not. Maybe it is. I don't know it's a hot take anymore. If Jack Caglianone has a good season, I guarantee you the Royals are making the postseason. I feel that confident about it. Now, we might have varying degrees on what a good season is, but if at the end of the season, I believe that we are pleased with what they got from Jack Caglianone, I think that is the difference in them winning 85 games and 88 games and them being at least a wild card team. Maybe they don't win their division this year, but if Jack Caglianone is part of the solution to their power problem and part of the solution to their outfield, and he plays in 150 games for this team, 140 games for this team, and is a legitimate power bat that you feel comfortable to play every day, and that's what they've added to this roster, with their pitching and how they've built up their bullpen and what I think having that player will mean to the rest of the lineup and to the rest of the team, I think he is the definition of an X factor. Their season will go largely dependent on how I think Jack Caglianone is. I think they'd have made the postseason last year if Jack Caglianone had been decent. Like let's if you go back in time and if Jack Caglianone was Roman Anthony and they had added that player whenever they added Jack Caglianone, I think they make the postseason last year. I think having that guy would have been enough to get you over the hump. I'm not saying he has to hit 30 home runs this season. If Jack Caglianone has 19 home runs and 70 RBIs and hits 250 and we're really excited and optimistic about him again, I think that means the Royals made at least the third wild card spot.
I agree. I also think, and I understand why fans will be frustrated. The Royals kind of pin their hopes to Caglianone because it is frustrating they've pinned their hopes to Caglianone considering he was not good when he came up last year. But if he is good, I agree with you, their playoff team. If he's the transcendent talent that it wasn't just me, you, Cody Gold, Bob, and Dusty talking about it. J.J. Cooper was on this show talking about it. We had prospect person after prospect person come on the show, and they said they haven't seen power like Jack Caglianone's ever in the minor league level. If he lives up to that hype, which I know that's the umpteenth degree of what he can be, if he does that, the Royals could be a division champion. If he's a 25 to 30 homer guy, they could be a division champion. But they don't need him to be that. They just need him to not be a negative and be a good player for the Mountain Right. And I think you are having postseason baseball in Kansas City again.
Coming up on the other side, there was a lot that happened yesterday in sports. Bam Adebayo scored 83 points in an NBA game yesterday. The Ravens said, we don't want Max Crosby. You can keep him, and signed Trey Hendrickson to a deal. Kansas State basketball, their season is thankfully over. There's a lot to get into in the 5 o'clock hour. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on Kansas City's only FM sports station, 96.5, The Fan. Here's your traffic report on 96.5, The Fan.
Down in the Triangle, you'll run into a stall, right lane block, 435 northbound at Bannister. And then Raytown, let's see, Wrecker on the scene. It'll be cleared soon, but still there, right lane block, 435 southbound at 350. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5, The Fan.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days if your bet loses. Here's how it works. Place a tournament bet using the token, and if it doesn't win, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. The craziness of March is here. Take advantage with our friends at FanDuel. That's 10 chances to play all tourney long, from game props, money lines, spreads, totals, futures, and so much more. You can even mix things up with the same game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. However you want to fill out your bracket. Remember, FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the action day after day after day. So visit FanDuel.com/local to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/local. It's your time to dance with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app and the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Must apply select token each day. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. Expires 7 days. Receipt. Tokens are received in increments of 1 per day. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
At quarterback, calling the right play could change the whole game. And when your car breaks down, same idea. Make the right call before the big repair bill hits. CarShield helps protect you from expensive auto repairs. Plans include 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, and rental car options, all to keep your drive alive. Look, breakdowns happen, but choosing CarShield, that's the easiest call you'll make all day.
Visit carshield.com now and join the team that's helped millions of drivers save. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
You got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... Let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13, and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with autopay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with Rex Buys KC. I get it. Selling your house can sometimes feel overwhelming or scary, right? I've seen it too many times. A homeowner thought they had a deal, only to have the buyer back out at the last minute. That's not how we do business at Rex Buys KC. I'm local, I know Kansas City, and I make sure every deal actually closes like it's supposed to. No hidden fees, no showings, no last-minute surprises, just a fair cash offer and a process you can count on. We buy homes in any condition and judgment-free. So whether your house needs repairs or you just want a fast, hassle-free sale, we can make it happen. If you want certainty, transparency, and someone local who actually delivers, call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time. 816-330-6000 or rexbuyskc.com. We've all been there. You wake up and your knees give you that not today feeling, and it's frustrating and exhausting. Honestly, it's unfair. Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. Yeah, I didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel way older than you actually are. QC Kinetics patients are getting relief, feeling younger, and jumping back into life at full speed without surgery. The medical professionals at QC Kinetics use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science. They take the tiny, powerful healing tools already inside your body and concentrate them right where you need relief. The sooner you start, the sooner inflammation eases and joint damage slows down, because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate. Your consultation's free. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Follow the station on Instagram for daily videos like the Royal Decree, Chiefs Take Tuesday, and Would You Rather Wednesday. This is Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited to be here with you. We got a lot to get into. So we are going to break the hits up into 3 parts. We're going to talk about Bam Adebayo, who scored 83 points yesterday in an NBA game. He now has the official record. Carrington's official record. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. We're going to talk about the Max Crosby deal and how the Ravens are some dishonest scoundrels. And we'll also talk Kansas State basketball. Now, this is the last time, this is the last day that we are going to talk about the 2025-2026 Kansas State men's basketball program. There were minimal moments. There was little joy and little excitement. When the highlight of your season is a press conference, things didn't go so hot for you guys. Their season ended the way that it was supposed to end yesterday. So, Rob, let's do this. Let's just shout out Baker University early on in this thing, and we'll just go through the top 3 stories on the other end of it.
Your workday is over.
Oh, yeah.
You're headed home, and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number 1.
Carrington, the Hits have a new sponsor. They're brought to you by the Salvation Army. Get your tickets at kickhungerkc.com for the Salvation Army Civic Lunch, which will be happening on May 7th.
All right, so this is how I want to at least start these 2 conversations, and then we'll get to K-State. I'm a big believer that sometimes 2 things can be true at the same time. And I feel like in this sports debate culture, we make it seem like you have to be on these completely opposing views of things when the world is in gray. It's not just black and white, it's in color. So there are degrees, there are spectrums of it. And I think the top 2 stories right now in sports are very reflective of that. Let's start with the Max Crosby news, and let's start with the trade that didn't happen. The Ravens did nothing wrong from a technicality standpoint. They agreed to a deal on Friday. The physical was on Tuesday. They conducted business. The Raiders conducted business. Max Crosby showed up for the physical. He didn't pass their physical. They made the decision to not move forward in the trade. They are well within their rights. Everything that happened is well within the framework of how trades are supposed to work in the National Football League. But on the other side, I think it is difficult now with the information that we have to be on the opposite side of this statement. I believe that the Ravens agreed to a deal with Max Crosby. I believe that the Ravens started to see the way that the market was coming together at pass rush, and someone had the idea of, well, we don't have to accept this trade. I think they continue to monitor the Trey Hendrickson situation because you can. Nothing is official now at this standpoint. I think they then found a number really close to what it was going to be with Max Crosby, and they were forced with 2 decisions. Decision A is keep our word, make this trade, and give up 2 first-round picks, or we wear a little egg on our face. We say we don't want to make this trade anymore. We quickly rebound and go sign Trey Hendrickson, and we don't let him go sign with somebody else. We get to keep the 14th overall pick and our 2027 first-round pick, and we move on business as usual. And we obviously know which side that they chose. So I don't think that the league is going to do anything in the immediacy when it comes to this. What can you do? If you're the Ravens, the stance is simple. We brought the player in. We thought one thing from a medical perspective. When we had our own doctor examine him and an independent doctor, we were concerned about what we saw, so we made the decision to not make the trade. Like, the Ravens are well within their rights. I think their logic is flawed. I think we know enough about physicals and the way that they are given out in the NFL, where if you want the player to pass the physical, you can get him to pass the physical. If you want the player to be active, he will be active for you. I think they purposely found a problem with the medicals, so they had a way to get back their 2 first-round picks, go get Trey Hendrickson for even cheaper than they were going to end up paying Max Crosby, so they have their need filled in pass rush, and they still got the 14th overall pick and next year's first-round pick to be able to do business. We made this point earlier. If you watch The Wire, I would say The Wire has 2 overarching themes. One theme with The Wire is chain of command. And chain of command works on the street in the show the same way that it works in the police department. The other theme of The Wire is a man must have a code. Every business, every group of people, there is a code that you make a decision to live by. And in this business, in their business, and in most businesses, your word is your bond. When you put your hand out and you shake hands and you agree to do something, you do everything you can to follow through with that agreement. I don't think the Ravens followed it. So I guess maybe the comparison would be is they broke one of the unwritten rules. They didn't break one of the written rules. They broke one of the unwritten rules. And I don't think the football gods can reward that. If there is a team I'm actively rooting against, I do not want this to work out for the Ravens. I think they did dirty business. I think they did bad business. And I don't think that's the way the trade should work in the National Football League. You made an agreement to go get Max Crosby, and you do what you need to do to go get the Max Crosby deal. And if you regret it, you regret it. But that's part of making a agreement in the National Football League. It's pretty clear the Ravens don't see it that way. I'll play this audio for you, and then we'll move on and we'll talk about Bam Adebayo. Here is the general manager for the Ravens. He says he wouldn't change anything about it.
You know, I think I'm hard on myself, and you question everything you do, you know, in this business. You're never perfect, right, with the draft and with free agency. I think in this particular instance, I'm really proud of the team and the doctors and, you know, the guys that work with me. And this is a tough thing that we have to deal with in this business. I don't really know what we could do differently than what we did. So, again, it's a really, really, really tough call. You know, there were moments yesterday when, honestly, I was probably speechless. Just sitting in my chair in my office and just thinking about what the next step would be and trying to get as much information as possible. And it wasn't, you know, I should say it wasn't just, you know, in a situation like this, you try to get as much information as you can from as many different sources as you can. And it just didn't work out. So, yeah, tough, very, very challenging. We've dealt with these kinds of things in the past, but probably never at such a large figure. So, challenging.
Did you try to renegotiate at all the terms of it?
You know, I think at some point you get to the point where, you know, when you look at the situation, you have to make the right decision. You know, it's not always about, you know, the value. It's just what is the right decision for the club at the time. And it's a hard thing to do. But as I said, when you're a steward of the organization and you're put in that position, you've got to make a tough call.
Has your girl ever caught you doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing? Think of the tone you were using with her when you had to explain it. Like when you started hearing yourself say it out loud, you knew that you were in the wrong. That's how I hear the general manager for the Ravens. Like nothing about how he's talking. You had to go do this press conference. You had to go do the fall on the sword, act sad. I'm so devastated that this happened. If you wanted the Max Crosby deal to go through, it would have went through. You didn't want it to go through. I hate that we're in a point that they don't feel like they can be honest with us. You saw an opportunity to improve your roster. You took it. So if you got to be in the public crosshairs for bad PR for 24 hours, so be it. You got the 14th overall pick for your troubles. So that is the first hit. Let's go to hit number 2. So the theme of this is just two things can be true at one time. I think what Bam Adebayo did is pretty cool. I really do. And I don't want to be so jaded by sports and the climate around sports and the debate at sports that when a guy scores 83 points in an NBA game, it is met with such cynicism the way that I think this has been. Just look at it through this perspective. Think about how many all-time great living basketball players that there are. Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Julius Erving. We can go up and LeBron. We can go up and down the list. All of these guys are living, walking among us, telling stories. They're all around. Bam Adebayo scored more points than any of them in an NBA game. He can walk into any room for the rest of his life and be able to say, I scored more points in an NBA game than you did. That's kind of cool. Now, I watched the entire fourth quarter of last night's game. I was keeping an eye on it. It got put into my group chat with my close friends at the end of the first quarter because Bam Adebayo scored the most points in NBA history in the first quarter. 31 points. Like, interesting. Bam cooking today. Halftime, didn't really keep up with it. At the end of the third quarter, Bam Adebayo had as many points as Kobe Bryant had at his game. And at that point, I was like, oh boy, I need to make my way over to the NBA League Pass, and I need to turn this on and see what happens. Now, that's the first part of this. The first part of this is it is incredibly cool that we got to see this. The second part of it is if you watch the game, oh boy, the last 9 minutes, they did everything in their power to make sure that Bam got this record. It was like somebody told the head coach, told Spoelstra, hey, you know how many points he has? He has 70 points. That's when it really started. It started to get bad when he got to 70. And when he got to 70, it turned into Will Smith at Bel Air Academy. At the end of the game, the Miami Heat are intentionally missing free throws in hopes that he gets the rebound. They were intentionally fouling up 20 so they could give themselves more possession so Bam could get the ball. Like, it honestly was entertaining at the end of the game. The Wizards are double and triple teaming him. They don't want him to score because they know what the record is, and the Heat are doing everything in their power to make sure that he gets it. It was really, really entertaining. Now, this is the other side of the argument. Sometimes it doesn't matter what the records say. The record is in the heart of the people. The heart of the people is Kobe's 81 is still the record. And even though the record book, the encyclopedia, is going to say 83, one day your kid is going to ask you, your kid might be 7, 8 years old, and you'll be watching basketball with your kid, and somebody is going to score 60 points in a game. Your kid's going to look at you and ask, who scored the most points in a game? And you're going to tell them the story of last night. It was Bam Adebayo, but he allowed it to have a but based on how they operated. So I understand the argument that Kobe's 81 was just a much more organic version of it. So I understand that point. I do understand that perspective. I honestly think in the terms of court of public opinion, it would have been better for Bam to stop at 81 and just tie it. It would have been better. Now, I understand. Once you're here, I want the record. I get it. But the people are not going to give you that record. You have it for sure. Celebrate it. You accomplished it. Congratulations to you. You should be celebrated. You scored the second most points in NBA history. You scored the most points in the Carrington NBA history book. But in the eyes of the people who ultimately hold these records and cherish these records, they don't see it as real. They see it as fake. They see it as you cheated. They see it as you hoodwinked them. You bamboozled them. And if you can live with it, then so can I live with it. It ain't my record. I'm not a Heat fan. I'm not a Bam Adebayo fan. I'm just a guy that loves basketball. And I did enjoy the fourth quarter of the game. I will say it was funny. And seeing how people's outrage has been to it has also been kind of entertaining. But the people, they normally decide. We are the ones that determine what the hits are. Have you ever listened to an album and it was clear that they were making this to be a radio single, but you're like, no, the best song on the album is actually this one. That's kind of what yesterday was. Kobe's is the one you're going to go back and watch the highlights and remember, and you know exactly where you were. You will never watch these Bam Adebayo highlights again, ever. To watch him do what? Shoot free throws? He took 46 free throws. No, you are not watching. You will never watch the Bam Adebayo. Even though in the first quarter and up until the fourth quarter, he really was cooking. You can stop it once you get to the fourth quarter. But the first through third quarter, I'm telling you, Bam was cooking. Then after that, I don't know what happened. All right, Rob, let's talk about hit number 3. I don't have anything against K-State. I really don't. I feel like we always got to preface that because, K-State fans, they don't like us. Well, they don't really like you. They tolerate me. They hate you. They're kind of ambivalent on me. I don't know what that place does to head coaches. Do you remember Bruce Weber's last press conference? Bruce Weber's last press conference was basically, you guys are miserable. You guys have ruined social media. Remember that? They were so mad about that. Jerome Tang's I'm sure he talked after the Houston game. I don't remember what he said. His last press conference was the one after Cincinnati. That was the last time you'll ever hear from Jerome Tang. I don't know what happened. They broke him that day. He saw that basketball team. He saw those fans in the stands with those trash bags over their head, and Jerome Tang lost it. I wouldn't have this theory, but when you start to get to 3 coaches that have done this, my antennas perk up a little bit. Listen to Matthew Driscoll. Matthew Driscoll, who I assume right now, Matthew Driscoll might have one of the best jobs in the world. We looked this up. Matthew Driscoll, who's the interim head coach at K-State, he makes $550,000 being an assistant basketball coach at Kansas State University. They also give him $8,000 a year for a car allowance. So think about what your car payment is. How much you pay a year on they give him $8,000 a year for car stuff. Insurance, gas, a lease, give him $8,000. Now I'm sure you get some other stuff too, but that's what we know. You also have a job with no expectations. None. Imagine right now at your job, no expectations. It doesn't matter how good you do. It doesn't matter how bad you do. All you need to do is show up and keep collecting a game check. That's all you got to do. You don't got to do anything else. Hey, just do your job, do your responsibility, be a good soldier, keep your head down. We're going to take care of you on the back end. That's a life that many of us dream to have. Matthew Driscoll makes it sound like it was the most impossible, miserable experience of anybody's life. Listen to this.
Absolutely miserable. I can't use another word than absolutely miserable. Every day, ulcers, not sleeping, not feeling good. I have an issue, I have a problem, and I've had it my whole life. And when I reached out to our psychologist that did the testing on us, he just said, Coach, that's just the way you're wired. All you're about is making sure things are organized and things are right. So if somebody gives me a task, my dad says that your last name's on everything. Don't ever screw up our last name. And so because of that, I'm wired differently. And so it's been very hard to mourn or be emotional. And I even asked my psychologist, why aren't I emotional? Like, why aren't I crying? Like, he's one of my best friends. Like, his daughter's my goddaughter. But it's because he asked me to do something, and I told these dudes I'm going to do it. And when someone asks me to do something, that's the one thing I am. I'm consistent. And so it's been miserable from that perspective. But they wouldn't know that because all I tried to do was just pour in to the staff, to the players, to the GAs, to the managers. And our staff, to their credit, they tried to pour in and it took a lot to hold it together. A lot. But if you're a man and you're a grown man and you make a decision to come to Kansas State, no matter what the outcome is or whatever the responsibilities are, when somebody asks you to do something and you say yes, you do it. And that's just the way I was raised.
Matthew Driscoll, come on, my brother. You had to do this job for a month. You did it for a month. He hasn't even been there a year at K-State. He got hired by Jerome Tang on May 23rd of 2025. He had to be the interim head coach for 7 basketball games. How was it stressful? What was stressful about it? You had no expectation. You had no chance of keeping the job. It didn't matter if you went 7-0. It didn't matter if you went 0-7. They told you to have your stuff out by Friday of the week of the Big 12 tournament. They gave you $500,000 in Manhattan, Kansas to do this. $500,000 in Manhattan, Kansas is like Trent McDuffie's contract in Los Angeles. That's what it's like. I've never heard somebody who was so blessed, who has so much, who has one of the greatest jobs that you could possibly have, sound like it was such a miserable experience. I'm so happy this Kansas State basketball season is over. I can't wait until they hire a coach. I hope they get a very good coach. I hope it's somebody that we all like. I hope it's somebody with a great personality. I hope it's somebody that represents Kansas athletics, Kansas State. I hope they represent them very well. I hope that they have nothing but success. I want all 3 of the February would be a lot better if all 3 teams were good. It really would be. It'd be great. I want the Sunflower Showdown to have meaning. I like when Kansas is a little nervous when they got to go into Bramlage. I don't want Kansas going into your building, doing the wall bash, cannonball, and making memes in your locker room. That's not fun for me. But my goodness, this season, it never worked for K-State, ever. Not at really any point did it work. Not non-con, not in conference, not when the season was over. I can't think of a more fitting end to their basketball season than A.J. DeBansta putting on a show in the Big 12 tournament, them complaining about the court, and their fourth press conference from their interim head coach about how miserable it is to be here. Good riddance. Please go away, K-State. Never again, K-State.
I'm legitimately shocked by how many times that man brought up Jerome Tang in post-game press conferences. I don't know how many games he coached down the stretch. I don't remember the exact time that Jerome Tang got fired. But I know this. Almost every post-game press conference, he mentioned Jerome Tang.
Every time.
And he got asked what was the season like to be an interim. And he found a way to be like, yeah, my best friend, losing him, I didn't get emotional, though. Jerome Tang's alive, by the way. He didn't die. He just got fired. You talked about him like he was deceased. He just got fired. The first couple of times Matthew Driscoll started talking in postgame, if I was Gene Taylor, I would have been like, we're going to add you to the list of people who's fired.
Yeah, you can't do this anymore either.
We just need someone to lose, walk up there, say, we gave it a good effort, we'll see you next Tuesday, and then we're going to play a game then. And then you need to do the same thing over and over and over again. But Matthew Driscoll somehow, some way, made every loss a Jerome Tang conversation. And he had a doozy on the way out tonight, yesterday.
Good luck to Matthew Driscoll. I don't know what else he's going to do. I mean, he's been a head coach in college basketball. He's been an assistant coach. I'm sure he's going to be an assistant coach somewhere. I'm sure that basketball will not leave him, but
I'm sure that Scott Drew is about to welcome everyone back down the Scott Drew tree because they stunk this year, and they need Jerome Tang and Matthew Driscoll back home.
I just want Matthew Driscoll. You know what I want him to do, man? Whenever he gets all of his stuff out, when he goes home today, I just want him to turn off his phone. I want him to go down in the basement. I just want him to have a nice big bowl of ice cream. That's what I want him to have.
He's got ulcers. That's terrible for him.
I don't know.
Take some Pepto.
I don't know nothing of that. Maybe that. I just want him to sit. If ever you have a stressful day, just go in the basement and just have one bowl of ice cream and watch how it turns around your day. You'll just be a happier individual. You will be. Just a happier person. All right, coming up on the other side, I got a question to ask you guys. Now that we have seen, I would say, the first wave of free agency, I'll ask the same question I asked before we started this process. On a scale from 1 to 10, where are you at in our I trust in Brett Veach meter? Because I feel like the Chiefs fans' confidence is coming back a little bit. I get why you were beaten down during the season. I get it. November, not very fun. December, not very fun. But now, Kelsey's coming back. There continues to be a lot of optimism around Patrick Mahomes and him being able to start the season with the Chiefs. They got a lot of people's number one wish list item when it came to free agency. They've signed a couple of quality starters. I'm curious to hear where people are on their confidence meter when it comes to Brett Veach. I'll tell you where I am next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Now's the time to complete that painting project you've been putting off. CertaPro Painters provides a free estimate quickly and at the right price. Whether it's interior or exterior, you'll never have to wonder what's next. They provide reliable updates because they know how important your home is to you. Ask about their spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. Remember, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in Kansas City. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here with the Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. Please gamble responsibly. Taking a look at the pro football futures market following Baltimore pulling out of its trade for Las Vegas' star pass rusher, Baltimore 10-1 to win next year's Pro Football Championship, behind only LA of the NFC and reigning champion Seattle. And I don't think you can justify having Baltimore up this high on the board, given the fact that Baltimore basically told us they needed this big move to get them over the hump. Now, without that player, Baltimore has some work to do. They can still do that work and get some good players, but as of right now, I wouldn't think about laying even 1 penny on Baltimore to win next year's championship. That's it for this Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today, and please gamble responsibly.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve, plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Down in the Triangle, you'll run into a stall, right lane block, 435 northbound at Bannister. And then Raytown, let's see, wrecker on the scene. It'll be cleared soon, but still there, right lane block, 435 southbound at 350. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's George Karlaftis from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to the Drive with CDOT on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, I'm asking the question right now, 913-586-7965. I just want to get a temperature check on where we are with Trust in Veach. Now, I cannot believe this is where we are. It feels a little abnormal. I really like the Chiefs offseason. I don't have many complaints right now about the Chiefs offseason. I have been at the forefront of run the ball more, invest in running back. They finally listened, and they did that. Day one of free agency. They went out. They invested. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. I then look at the other moves that they've made. I like them bringing Tyquan Thornton back at the contract that they brought him in on. It's a 2-year, $11 million deal. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a nothing contract. I like the move to go get Kairos Tonga as a 28, 29-year-old established veteran to eat up blockers in the middle. I'm looking at Gilman as a little bit of a rotational safety, but they needed some experience back there, and that's what they decided to go with. You still have a lot of cap space. I don't think they're done making veteran moves. There's still a couple of moves that are going to happen between now and I would say the start of the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to sign a couple more veteran players. You have a lot of draft capital now, a lot of flexibility to go out there and make moves. I feel really confident with what they've done so far. I really like their plan. I think they've done a good job executing their plan so far. A couple of the texts that we've got in, 913-586-7965. C-Dot, I was not looking forward to the season, but I'm feeling 25% more confident. The wide receiver room and the D-line room have me worried still. Someone else said, who's playing in the secondary? I'm not confident. I also am interested to see what they do at wide receiver. I don't think they're done. I think they're going to spend one of their first 3 draft picks on a wide receiver. Now, you can be optimistic or not on whether that guy's going to be good, but I do think they're going to spend another significant investment at wide receiver, not just for the here and now, but also for the future. I don't know what the future looks like for Rashee Rice. I don't know what the future looks like for Xavier Worthy. So if you can lock in right now another 4-year, could be 5-year contract on a wide receiver that you like, I don't think that's the worst thing that you could possibly do. D-line wise, yeah, they got some questions. I am assuming at some point, I think they're going to do a Brett Veach special. I don't know exactly who that is, but we all know the Brett Veach special. It'll be a failed first or second round pick. They'll trade a mid-round draft pick. That guy will have 1 or 2 years left on his deal, kind of like what they did with Kadarius Toney, kind of like what they did with Emmanuel Ogbah. Like, we could think of examples of these kind of players. I'm guessing they do something like that, and they also address it in the draft. And they are expecting to get more from Omar Norman-Lott, who was injured for most of last year. They're expecting to get more from Ashton Gillotte. And they'll expect to get something from whoever they draft in the NFL draft. I do think there is a plan at defensive line. I think they are executing their plan. I just think it's too early to see what the full scope of that is going to look like. Where are you at, Rob, from a confidence standpoint? Because you have not shown much excitement for any move they have made.
Let me ask you this before I give you my answer. Is a lot of your trust because you think more is coming? Like, or are you
yeah, I mean, I'm very confident they are going to do more in free agency than what they've done.
I guess let me rephrase that, because yes, they're not taking the field with the 42 people they have right now. I get that. But it seems like a lot of your faith in this and Brett Veach comes from you still think the things that you want to address are going to get addressed in a way you like. Because you're saying a Brett Veach special could be coming. We don't know that. I mean, it's possible, but we don't know that. And it seems unfair to say I'm confident in Brett Veach because I think this thing that I'm hypothesizing could be coming to fruition. I would be happy with a Brett Veach special, but I'm not going to grade him on a thing that has not happened yet. So for me, I would say I'm probably a 6.5, a 6 in trust in Veach. I understand running back need to be addressed. He just didn't do it in a way I would have done it. That's fine. He did address it. We don't have to go about doing the same things the same ways. He did address it. Other than that, they've added a D tackle who I think will be part of the rotation.
Who's fine? He's fine.
It's impossible to dislike that guy. And then the safety, we have heard mixed reviews out of multiple Baltimore guests now, so I think he's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that player. I don't think it's, wow, you made a huge upgrade, but I am a 6.5 because I'm going to wait and see. And if the offseason gets better, I reserve the right to let my score go up. But right now, their edge rush still stinks. They basically don't have corners. I don't know their safety room's better. As much as I hate linebacker, they basically have one on the roster. Like, they still have holes to fill. So I'm going to give it an incomplete 60%. There's still more on the horizon. I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt of, I know he's going to nail these things because they haven't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, text line like this. I guess you're right. Some of this is me projecting in some ways. Someone on the text line says, C-Dot, why are we not talking about linebacker? What are they doing for this situation? This is just one of those things that always ends up working out. You remember when they got Drew Tranquil? I'm guessing that wasn't a move. I can't remember, but I'm just guessing if we go back in time, that is not a move that we spent a lot of time talking about. But when we kind of did the reading on it, like, oh, okay, he's a good player. You ended up getting him. They signed Drew Tranquil for a 1-year, $3 million deal, and he got a $1.4 million signing bonus. There's a Drew Tranquil in this free agency class because there always is. For example, we've been talking a lot about positional value. What if I told you guys that one of the first team all-pro safeties was available in free agency and signed a 1-year contract for $6 million? Kevin Byard, who this season, there were 2 all-pro safeties. One was Kyle Hamilton. Y'all know who he is. The other one was Kevin Byard, who was on the Bears, who was a free agent. The Bears chose not to bring him back. He signed a 1-year, $6 million deal today with the New England Patriots. There are some positions that you can just pick up for cheap along the way. And you know what? For the kind of linebackers they're looking for, they're not looking for edge rushers, like in that tone. They're not looking for what Tom Bahali was or what Justin Houston was, guys who were playing standing up, who you were expecting to get a bunch of sacks. They're looking for guys to get a bunch of tackles. Those guys just don't get a whole lot of money in free agency. So I'm not really that worried about how are they going to replace Leo Chenal. I'm not really that worried about that kind of stuff, at least not with this team. They got much bigger, big-ticket items that they need to be worried about. So I'm focused in on that. How are they going to address their big-ticket items? Now, this text, I think, is a fair point. Text line, 913-586-7965. Let me find it where it was. I lost it. Here it goes. C-Dot, if that's what you think the plan is for D-line, then it is an awful plan. You want to know what their real plan is at the defensive line? The player they gave $94 million to takes a step forward. Because I remember, it wasn't that long ago, everybody loved the George Karlaftis contract. Loved it. And I would say it's even having a little bit of a renaissance, having a little bit of a rebirth. Now everybody is telling me how great the value is for George Karlaftis. That's been the new thing for this past week. Oh, man, I can't believe we got George Karlaftis to this cheap deal, and it's such a good contract. Okay. Step one of fixing their defensive line is they get more from their 24-year-old pass rusher in George Karlaftis. That's the guy that you're hoping they acquire. It's not going out in free agency and hoping to get somebody else's pass rusher that didn't work. It's the guy who has had regressing sack numbers in the last 3 seasons. It's him figuring it out and turning into the player that you desperately want them to, that you desperately need him to be. He had 10.5 sacks in 2023. He had 8 sacks 2 seasons ago. He had 6 sacks last year. And we are continuing on that trend. He is trending towards 5 sacks or 4.5 sacks. That's the problem with the defensive line. The problem with the defensive line is George Karlaftis has not taken the step forward. So, yeah, plan number 1 is George Karlaftis needs to work out. Plan number 2 is somewhere with either 9, 29, and 40, one of those guys is also going to be a pass rusher. That guy also needs to work out. There are some things that it's just better if you fix in-house. You can outsource finding safety help. They did that with Tyrann Mathieu. They did that with Justin Reed. You can outsource finding safety help. There's some things that you gotta figure it out on your own. And getting to the quarterback or developing your own quarterback is usually something you got to do on your own. So they drafted George Karlaftis with the 1st-round pick. They thought enough of him they gave him money immediately. Think about the players they hesitate on paying. They didn't hesitate to pay George Karlaftis one bit. No, we want to pay you now. All right. Well, now it's time to get what you paid for. You gave him $60 million guaranteed. Does anybody feel like they got their money's worth last year with George Karlaftis and his 6 sacks last season? So the answer really to a lot of this is George Karlaftis needs to get 12.5 sacks next year as a 25-year-old entering his prime, and he needs to be a guy that we're talking about as one of the better pass rushers in the National Football League. That will solve a lot of their problems. Because when we talk about guys they have paid, You paid Creed Humphrey. You feel like you got the best center in the National Football League. You paid Trey Smith. You feel like you got one of the better interior offensive linemen. Nick Bolton. When Nick Bolton is healthy, he does exactly what he's supposed to do. They are expecting that same thing for George Karlaftis. They are just not getting it right now. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
Well, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you have poor sleep? What about low energy? How about brain fog, a reduced sex drive, weight gain, and workouts that just don't deliver like they used to? Well, the problem could be low testosterone. And the truth is, those testosterone levels can start declining as early as your 30s, 2 or 3% every single year. And before you know it, you just don't feel like the same man you did back in the day. Well, you don't have to accept this as just aging. Heartland Men's Health specializes in customized testosterone therapy and targeted body composition plans. You might think you have low T. Well, pick up the phone and call this number, 844-447-6600, or check out the website and take this simple 10-question quiz. Visit heartlandmenshealth.com. Your initial visit is just $100, includes a medical consultation, a PSA test, and lab results in about 30 minutes, and your treatment can start that day. 3 locations, Overland Park, Independence, North Kansas City. There's no need to wait. Go stop by and see my friends over at Heartland Men's Health.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Coming to Kansas City, the NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship. 16 teams, 15 games, 6 days, 1 national champion. The NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship at Municipal Auditorium, March 19th through the 24th. Get your tickets now at NAIAHoops.com.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days if your bet loses. So here's how it works. You place a tournament bet using the token, and if it doesn't win, you'll get up to $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. That's 10 chances to play all tourney long, from game props and money lines to spreads, totals, futures, and more. You can even mix things up with a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to fill out your bracket, FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the action day after day. So visit FanDuel.com/local to sign up today. FanDuel, it's time to dance. FanDuel Sportsbook's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Must apply select token each day. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. Tokens are received in increments of 1 per day. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Love college basketball? Gear up for another exciting season of college ball with a special offer from BetMGM. Sign into your BetMGM account and enjoy a college basketball odds boost token to snag even more winnings on your next bet. Just log into the BetMGM Sportsbook app, add any college basketball bet to your bet slip, and activate your odds boost token. If you win your bet with your token activated, you'll score extra winnings. It's that simple. Log in and enjoy our odds boost token to help you create another memorable season of college ball. Head for the net with BetMGM all season long. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. Must be 21 years of age or older. This promotional offer not available in D.C., Mississippi, New York, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Totel.
Football season is officially over, but the offseason is just beginning, and 96.5 The Fan will be there every step of the way. We'll have people at the Combine in Indianapolis. We'll be at Arrowhead during free agency. And yes, we'll be live in Pittsburgh for the NFL Draft in April. One of the biggest offseasons in recent history is underway, and there's only one station you need to listen to, right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
We've still got the crash. 435 eastbound at Knoll. Right lane is blocked. Scoot to the left to get through here. Westbound side, a lot of onlooker delay. Shawnee, that is a big crash. 35 northbound. It is past Johnson. Left lane is blocked, and you are very heavy back to Overland Park. I'm down with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back into the show. Rob, do you remember when we talked about the story about the gentleman that came from Canada and stole the flamingo? Do you remember this?
A Canadian tourist visiting Las Vegas stole a live flamingo from the Flamingo Sanctuary at the Flamingo Hotel. Here's everything you need to know. 33-year-old Michael Fairbarn, visiting from Ontario, allegedly snuck into the enclosure around 5 a.m. He is believed to have been intoxicated. He trampled several birds before stealing one known as Peachy and taking it back to his room. Surveillance images have been released of him, including this one where he's in the elevator and appears to be holding the bird. And after his arrest, police went through his phone and found several selfies and videos with the bird. And he changed his lock screen to a selfie with the bird and geotagged the hotel. In one video, he reportedly said that he was taking the bird home with him. He claimed that he was trying to fix the bird's wing and that he, quote, knew how because he's a country boy. He did end up getting charged with some pretty serious charges. The bail was set at $12,000 and he had to surrender his passport. Caesars Entertainment has released a statement saying that all the birds, including Peachy, are in the care of veterinarians and they're hopeful that they will make a full recovery.
They released the closed circuit video of it yesterday. It's not funny. Animal cruelty is not funny. But Rob, you have to see this video. It is insane. It's insane. He gets over, he's like trying to entice the bird. The bird is not going over there, so he just dives on the bird, and then he's like running away. He looks like a raccoon that like stole some food and is like running away. It's wild. Which Vegas, I mean, if you've been to Vegas before, you've seen some things before. I'll never forget, Rob, the very first time I went to Vegas, I saw a homeless man. He was getting coins out of the fountain near the Caesars Palace. That wasn't really that odd to me, like whatever.
That's like regular Vegas.
The cops were standing around the fountain and were recording it and laughing. Didn't tell the man to get out. They were just, hey, what do you do? I'm thinking you're the police. What are you going to do something? They didn't do nothing. Just sat there, recorded them like they were pedestrians, laughed, moved on, went on with their day. Never seen anything like it. It set a tone and a precedent. I just had to play the audio for you again. What a story. A country boy stole a flamingo. They got flamingos in the country?
I mean, the fact that his logic was, I'm a country boy, so don't worry, I got it. It's crazy.
Okay, I didn't know.
I still don't understand. I mean, we don't have to talk about the story again. I don't understand what these people have like concierge services and people at the front desk all the time. He just walks to his room with the flamingo and the person working at 4 a.m. is like, nope, not my problem. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for it. You know what I realized? I realized that Daniel Jones is going to be TikTok Kirk Cousins. Like, Kirk Cousins, to me, he is the epitome of the American dream. Kirk Cousins has found multiple companies to pay him ungodly amounts of money to be incredibly average at his job. None of us think that Kirk Cousins is great. Kirk Cousins has never won a championship, never come close to winning a championship. You are fearful for having Kirk Cousins in a big game. All you got to do is whisper in Kirk Cousins' ear that it's nighttime, and he's going to turn into a pumpkin and throw for 142 yards and 3 interceptions. The fact that Daniel Jones has figured out how to be that, it's insane to me. So he just signed a new contract. Let's assume that he plays out that deal. By the time Daniel Jones is 30 years old, he will be 30 years old at the end of this contract. Rob, he will have made $258 million playing football. $258 million the NFL has given Daniel Jones. To do what? Daniel Jones has one play that we think of when you think of him. He has one play.
He has one?
Yeah, remember that time he broke down the middle of the field and was running and then just fell on his own?
Oh, you meant like a positive.
Yeah, just like one play. Like if I say, think of a Daniel Jones play.
Yeah, he tripped over himself.
There's one play that you remember. He was going to score a touchdown and then he fell over. And the thing about Daniel Jones is, I'm not telling you that I think Daniel Jones is bad. I think Daniel Jones, he is TikTok era Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has never been on TikTok, has never downloaded it. I bet you Daniel Jones has. That's who he is. He's just incredibly average. He's never thrown more than 25 touchdown passes. He's never thrown more than 3,200 yards. He probably has, one playoff win in his career? He has one. He's 1-1.
He beat the Vikings, yep.
He's 1-1. $258 million to be Daniel Jones. TikTok Kirk Cousins. I mean, what a life. Just absolutely what a life. We had a lot of fun today. Hopefully you guys did as well. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll really start to dive deeper into the Big 12 tournament tomorrow. Tomorrow the real teams start playing. You know, Texas Tech plays, Arizona plays, Iowa State plays. That's it. That's all.
Iowa State already played. They already played a game.
Yeah, no, they play again tomorrow, too.
Good luck get out of your life tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. We'll catch you guys. Take care of yourself. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison and Rob Brenton.
You losers is what you are.
On your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hi, I'm Jacob, your friend and an actual jeweler at Chain Company. I'm proud to work for a family business that's been committed to the highest quality standards for nearly 100 years. Your dream engagement ring is designed